And there are bands that have issues with the comments that have like don't post about us type things
Yeah.
at all. And it's like, no, we're not going to do that. We're definitely going to post about you. You got to be a grown up and not worry about the comments or not check the comments.
That first day when you got the keys, like, what did that feel like? What was it like? Overwhelming?
Leading up to it, I was very nervous in general because like all of a sudden it starts hitting you that like, oh my God, now you're in charge of this, whatever it is, legacy. I just started like having a panic attack and I was like, fuck, dude. Like, because it's a big deal. It's a big deal to me. And then, of course, him going on vacation for the week after he hands the keys over is fucking kind of like,
Yeah.
oh,
We're
no.
like, oh shit, what if I have questions? Or
Yeah, yeah. So sorry to text you whilst you're on vacation, Alex.
what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Riff Tacos podcast. My name is Paul Misko, and today I'm going to be talking with David Truax, aka Lurk, the owner and CEO of one of the most infamous metal and hardcore news platforms on the internet, the one and only Lambgoat. I've been going to lambgoat.com as long as I can remember to read news about my favorite bands, to find new bands, before I had a computer in my house. So I would go on in a computer class in ninth grade to get my fix because it was the only place I had access to the internet. So that's been 25 years. Lambgoat has been a staple in my life, and that makes me feel really old. But I also remember the first time one of my bands got coverage on there, and we were super stoked. It like meant the world to us, and it was like, oh, something meaningful finally happened. It feels like we're getting somewhere, and new people are going to hear us. Until you read the comment section. And if you're not familiar, Lambgoat is known for having the most brutal, ruthless comment section out there of just like anonymous edgelords talking shit about everybody, no matter who you are. Some of it's really hilarious, but that's what it's known for. So let's get going. This is Riff Tacos, episode 34, with David Truax, owner and CEO of Lambgoat. I saw your recent post of was it 3 years ago when you acquired Lambgoat?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, this month. So 3 years ago this month. Yeah.
Yeah. So congrats, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I was thinking back to like how long I've been going to Lambgoat too, like since ninth grade, I think, like when it was out, like that year or maybe 1 year at that point. And I'm in computer class, just like getting in trouble for being on like, what's that satanic metal website?
Yeah, no. I mean, I did the same thing. I mean, I've been going to Lambgoat for as long as I can remember being on the internet. And honestly, sometimes I think early Lambgoat shaped how I speak on the internet.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that was the only place I had internet access.
Yeah, yeah. And well, the internet wasn't social back then. So like Lambgoat did have somewhat of a social aspect to it with like the forum and commenting. So like you just adopted this weird persona on the internet anonymously back then, and then it was kind of the same way it is now. It's kind of rough and tumble in the comments and the forums. So like it just shaped how I commented on the internet going forward. And,
Yeah. It was definitely the first message board I ever probably saw. And like, other than that, it was like weird AOL chat rooms.
Yes,
And
right.
you just, age, sex, location, check.
ASL, yeah, for sure. Talking to a bunch of dudes, just dudes talking to dudes.
Yeah. So you pretty much went from fan to podcast host to now acquiring the company and being the owner, which is amazing. I'd love if you could like recap that story.
I can definitely do that for you. Yeah, so like as you basically said, and as I stated earlier, I've been going to Lambgoat forever. I did my own website back in the day, was the hrn.com, which was like the hard rock network, because I was straddling being a fan of both new metal and hardcore and metal, which I still to this day do. But so I was focused more so on the new metal side of things because I was more into it back then. And then in my transition to like finding Roadrunner record bands that are new metal, but also then like hardcore bands and metal bands that are on that label, it started to put me into a different vein of music. And then I started covering a lot more stuff. But fast forward a couple years, like I stopped doing the website after a handful of years. And then like I just started working corporate America, doing some of those things that I was doing back in the day, like web development, web design, graphic design, marketing, yada, yada, all that stuff. And then I was like growing tired of it. And I was like, what would I really want to do? And in my head, it was like do the HRN again, do like a music website again. And at the same time, podcasting was like still in its infancy. Me and my buddy JP, who is one of the owners, he's a partner of ours. He's just kind of like in the background for the most part, does our video stuff, and you may see him like on earlier podcasts, or if we're at Furnace Fest or something like that, he's definitely around, but he's not a day-to-day kind of guy. But he and I started our own podcast called The Old School, or The New Old School, and that was basically just like a general podcast. And from there, I got with Lambgoat because I was following Lambgoat obviously on social media, and for some reason he was having a conversation with someone, and I asked where his podcast was, and then he said he didn't have one, and then we kind of clicked from there in the DMs, and I just started doing the podcast with Alex for a while, and then I started doing it on my own, obviously. And then yeah, like after a couple of years, we would be doing like all these on-site things for like Furnace Fest, or like going to festivals and doing all this stuff. And JP and I wanted to do a lot more as far as like Lambgoat is concerned, as far as content is concerned, but we were going to come out of pocket for all that kind of stuff. So it was like, well, either A, we stop doing what we stop doing this whole thing and just kind of like move on, because we're getting to a point where like we're hitting a glass ceiling, or we just kind of like approach it to maybe like talk it to Alex into like maybe selling it to us, or like giving us partnerships, or yada yada yada. And long story short, I approached him, and it took him a while to be okay with it. Obviously, he's something that he created and grew for 22 years.
Yeah.
And then it's like a legacy type thing for him too, obviously. Not just for like the scene and metal and hardcore and stuff like that, but like for him too. Obviously, he built it from the ground up and ran it from the ground up every day by himself.
Yeah, that's got to be hard to let go of.
Yeah, I would assume so. And I mean, like, it was very hard to approach him to ask him that. I can still remember the phone call. I was pacing in the backyard just like for fucking an hour, just chatting with him about it. But trying to tell him, I was like, we care deeply about what we want to do, and this, that, the other, and I care about the legacy of Lambgoat. I've cared about it for a long time. Not that I had anything to do with it. I cared about it before I even became the podcast guy. So yeah, it's been a fun and wild ride, obviously, because then I kind of became the wizard behind the curtain in a lot of the things that go on at Lambgoat, and then you find out a lot of things, whether it's like people who fuck with you, who don't fuck with you, who love you, who hate you, things that the website has to deal with on a daily basis, whether it's like spam comments or just like bad comments, or just all sorts of things. People say they're going to sue us every other day. So it's one of those things where
Sure.
it's hilarious. It's a fun day every day. You never know what you're going to get into.
Yeah. How long did it take him to like come to terms with that decision?
The whole overall situation took like 8 months. I don't know if it didn't take him 8 months to decide, but like from 8 months from like, hey, let me ask you about this. And there was time before that Dylan, my main partner, who I run a lot of day-to-day stuff with at Lambgoat and LG Media, we started hatching this plan like Furnace Fest, the first Furnace Fest. He kind of mentioned it, and then we kind of just were like, is everyone serious about this? Because we were all just joking drunk one night, and then
Yeah, so I said you were in a bar.
yeah. And we go to that bar every time we're in Birmingham as like a homage to that night. But yeah, so we went there and did that, and then from that, it took us a little bit to get our ducks in a row to even approach Alex for that. So it might have taken him like a month, or maybe a little more than that.
So like the whole thing started with you responding to a tweet, and then drunk conversation in a bar, which is amazing because everybody does that. Like when they're drunk, like, oh, we should start a business or start a band or do this or that. But you guys actually followed through, which is rare and awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like I can remember we were in the car on the way back home, and it was one of those things where like you get so hyped in the moment when you're inebriated and whatnot, and everyone's done it, like you said, everyone's fucking done that kind of thing where you hatch these brilliant ideas and whatnot. But on the way home, I was like, okay, and I kept running in my head as like, I think it's time to make it awkward and bring that conversation up on and see where everyone's fucking really at, because it's been like a day now or a day and a half since we've fucking had that conversation. So on the way home, yeah, I just mentioned it and everyone was kind of down for it. And we had an idea of what it I mean, I'm not gonna get into super big specifics, but we had an idea of what it would like cost and like what it would take. And now on the back end, we were so fucking out out of our minds thinking it was gonna be that easy to run one thing, and then procurement of it was easy, but the being the guy who runs the ship is fucking way harder than I can ever imagine. And like I give Alex kudos all the time because he had like a whole ass family with like multiple children, like big house, not just like two, three kids. He had like a lot of kids, and soccer games, baseball games on the weekends, and this guy still posted about fucking which band is beefing with who on the weekends, you know?
Yeah, and deleting terrible comments. And
Yeah, 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 yeah.
so what, like that first day when you got the keys, like what did that feel like? What was it like overwhelming? Like how did
Yeah,
that
yeah.
feel?
Um, so we kind of came to an agreement like a month before we signed everything and exchanged funds, and kind of took it off of his hands. And then he went on vacation basically like for a week and a half or 10 days or something like that. So he had it real nice. He had no worries for the first time in probably like 2 decades of just hanging out with the family and not posting about news, which um
Yeah, he's probably like, oh,
yeah, I did ask him, and he goes, "It feels itchy, like he should be doing something, and he's so used to doing something, but he doesn't have to do it anymore." But no, I mean, so leading up to it, I was very nervous in general because like all of a sudden it starts hitting you the like, oh my god, now you're in charge of this, whatever it is, legacy, and being the man on the street for so long with Lambgoat, I got to see like exactly like how embedded it was with like bands and people in the industry and people at festivals and people at shows. Like, so I got firsthand, knowledge of stuff that Alex didn't really
mm-hmm.
maybe not of know right now currently at this point. Like he has a gauge of like how popular the website is based on traffic over the years, and how it goes ebbs and flows and stuff like that. But like he lives in a rural part of the country, and he doesn't really make it out to fucking shows on a regular basis, whereas I do a lot with or without Lambgoat. I was just always going to shows, and so once we got into the Lambgoat thing, people started really noticing, and um, I started getting really nervous about like, yeah, taking on that legacy and maintaining that legacy, and like, uh, the audience is already kind of ravaged at times, so like, you know, can I handle all that stuff? And is it going to be as fun as I think? And, will it change my life like I think it will? And for the most part, I mean, it's been a great time. And, there's been a lot of, not a lot of negative things have happened, to be honest with you, knock on wood, but a lot of great things have happened. Like we've been able to do a lot, and we're continuing to kind of like grow the Lambgoat brand. And, our other thing that we're doing, LG Media, which kind of plays into Lambgoat just for the ad side and the revenue side of Lambgoat. But yeah, I mean, I was definitely nervous. I like had a freak out like right before we signed the paperwork and stuff. Like I was hanging out with my friend, and I mean, we were smoking weed, so that probably didn't help. But like I smoke weed on regular. It's not like that's a new thing. But
Yeah.
I just started like having a panic attack, and I was like, "Fuck, dude!" Like, because it's a big deal. It's a big deal to me, and that's just where I'll leave it at. Yeah. So yeah, I did get a little nervous, and it was a little freaked out. And then of course, him going on vacation for the week after he hands the keys over was fucking kind of like,
Yeah.
oh
We're
no.
like, oh shit, what if I have questions or
Yeah, yeah. So sorry to text you whilst you're on vacation, Alex, but
was there anything that like that first day you dove in that was like a big curveball that was unexpected of how to like deal with shit or handle anything?
yeah, I'll say it. I'll talk about it. So within that first week, Alex is gone, and then like I also the entire time that I've kind of been back with Lambgoat doing the podcast, I've been like active on the forum, right? So I've been pretty active on the forum for better or worse, and a lot of those guys are for worse, right? So they don't necessarily care too much for me, or at least they
Mhm.
play their character on the forum hates me or whatever. So that's
Right.
but leading up to this whole situation of exchanging hands, like I'm being a little shithead on the forum and just kind of like overstepping my bounds probably a little bit, and then just like teasing this big thing that's happening, and then it does, and then I think like a good chunk of the message board ends up leaving and going to a Discord, and they have yet to really come back, which is not bad, not horrible, and it's not great because the forum is obviously missing those people. But these are also like the worst of the worst of
Right.
individuals on the fucking more forum, so they all left. But um, one of them was trying to like fucking DDoS the website or something like that, and they were somewhat successful for about like 30 minutes until we figured out, what was going on and everything like that. And then like my personal email got signed up into a bunch of fucking like spam
Oh
email
man.
stuff. So I just get like robo emails, like thousands of those a day for months, and it was kind of a fun
I
thing.
don't understand why. Like they're mad he sold it, or they're mad because it was you, or
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm very they don't like they didn't a lot of them aren't big fans of me on there just because of the way I might handle myself on the on the message board, or because like I'm not seen and cool enough to be the guy on the street or the podcast guy or the guy handling Lambgoat, which I don't claim to think that I am either of those things either. I'm just the guy who my life took me to here. You know what I mean? Like you said, I just went through on a drunken conversation, and here we are. You know?
right. Yeah, I think the last time I probably commented in there was probably in high school still. And I never said anything bad. I was one of the guys who was like, I'm a teenager still. So I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Or I'm stoked about this, but for the most part, especially when like one of my bands had something go up, I'm like, I'm staying. I don't even want to see. Like you dip your toe in one time and it hurts your feelings, even though they just shred on everybody. But
Yeah, they definitely shred on everybody, and I mean, even because again, you're a alumni, so to speak, and I also am an alumni of like the early 2000s time frame. So like, I'm well aware and hyper aware that like a lot of these comments that are specific, like really specific, or even generally specific to a band or to something that happened to a member of a band. These are people that know the information, so they're probably someone very close to you, or like teasing you or in your group. They're in your circle. They're not like some random fucking guy in a
yeah,
basement somewhere. I mean, there's definitely those guys on the comment section too. But
yeah. I've seen a few that were like super personal. I'm like, wow, like that's close to home.
yeah,
You have to like live nearby or something to know that.
yeah. I mean, I again, like I said, I've gotten active on the message board over the years, and I probably overshared. Like you shouldn't share anything really, especially now. I shouldn't share anything with these guys because it just all comes back to me in the comment section or the forum. But yeah, I mean, like the comments is a big thing, obviously, for Lambgoat, or that's why Lambgoat is known. It's not a big thing for us, but a lot of people know us for the comments that are left on there. And
Right.
yes, it gets good and bad. I mean, there's a lot of like really good humor in there, and I tell everybody that it's a bunch of comedians making really bad jokes that most don't land, but there's a nugget in there every now and then that's pretty good.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some really hilarious stuff, and I feel like a lot of it is not specifically malicious. It's just like, how can I outdo the guy next to me?
Right. Now there are sometimes, like, again, I don't know how or why or whatever, but a lot of political issues get brought up in the fucking Lambgoat comment section, which is obviously the town hall forum that needs to be discussed on in general. That is the place. The CNN and
Yeah.
Fox News are second tier to the Lambgoat comment section. But at some point, I'm like, dude, we have to be getting like botted or something, like by like some kind of other country's fucking bots are like coming and just talking about left and right business shit on our comment section or something. You know what I mean? But again, in order for us to keep it like anonymous like that in certain ways, we have to roll with the punches, so to speak. So
Yeah. So there was never any thought of like, let's change how this works, or
no.
hey, friends, if you're enjoying the show, quick reminder to hit the subscribe button and like the episode on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, please follow the show and leave a quick rating. It really helps me out a lot. And if you know someone who'd enjoy it, please share the episode with them too. Thanks so much. All right, back to it. Yeah, you just leave it, let it be.
I wanted Alex did take the comment section away around COVID time. I don't know if you remember that or whatnot, but he took it down for a couple months.
Oh, I didn't notice that. No.
Yeah, so he took it down, and people complained a lot about it, obviously, but people complained about them being comments too. So like it's a give and take. However, for me, it's not necessarily like a free speech type situation, although there's a little to do with that. It's more of just like an ode to like the time when I was on the internet, and like I was a youngster surfing the webs and I came across these same comments. So, you know what I mean? Like, and look at
Yeah.
me, look how I turned out. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the legacy. I could totally understand, like, just let it be. Some things obviously have to be removed. Like, do you have what's the criteria for something that, like, okay, this crossed the line, is getting deleted?
well, we have a couple set of rules and guidelines like you need to follow, right? So, like, there are those things posted. But the unfortunate part of like the comment moderation is we've been a website for over 25 years now. So there's like 25 years of pages that you can comment on Lambgoat anonymously.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance that you could sneak some fucking foul shit in everywhere on the website, right? But again, like we have beefed up like content moderation. Like I was moderating comments earlier today. I mean, we look at that because again, we get spammed by like spam like Bangladesh, Pakistani, and spam comments of just like work from home. And I mean, if you've been to Lambgoat, you know what the fuck we're talking about. So
Yeah.
it's all this stupid shit, and so I go through and delete that. And if I see something that's kind of like a little out of bounds whilst doing that, I'll also delete it. But a lot of the times, like I rely on like people reporting the comments, which a lot of people do on a daily basis. So if someone reports a comment, that leads me to know like, okay, someone's offended by this comment, but let's check it out. And if it goes against the guidelines, then obviously we'll remove it. And if it's kind of like borderline doesn't go against the guidelines, we'll kind of remove it too. But like death articles are no longer, you can't comment on someone like Ozzy died today, so there's no comments allowed on that
Yeah.
page. This
R.I.P.
is
Ozzy.
right. That's a big day for the metal world. But like, yeah, so to just avoid all that fucking bullshit, just no comments.
That's smart. That's good. Uh, have any bands ever reached out to you asking you to remove comments?
Man, I kind of figured you would bring this up, and I was kind of like diddle daddling in my head if I would talk about this. But I mean, I guess I can't.
You don't have to mention anybody, but I'm just
I can
curious.
and will, Paul, because I do talk about it outside of being on the record. So like, yeah, I mean, there's definitely been bands that have reached out to me, not to remove comments, but maybe to turn comments off sometimes, or yeah, and there's definitely been like bands that are involved in the article that have hit me up and been like, "Hey, can you take this one down?" Or, and the tough part about this gig is that part is when like someone's on the bad end of a story, or and again like we don't create the news. It's not like I'm sitting up here like writing scripts of like what will happen this week and then sorry friend A or friend B or a guy that I know C, you're in the fucking doghouse this week and you've got this shit article on Lambgoat because someone in your band did something. You know what I mean? Like we don't write the news. We just tell you what's fucking going on.
Yeah, that's your job.
Right. And like people get upset about that. And so yeah, sometimes we'll get notified about or contacted about taking comments down or turning comments off. Like the Year of the Knife one last year was a pretty big one for us, and was kind of like one of these things where like not everyone, I shouldn't say that, but there was a number of people that were kind of loud on social media, Twitter and whatnot, that wanted us to like remove the comments from the Maddie articles. And again, when we post certain articles, we're hyper aware of like, okay, this one's probably going to be problematic, so we should take a closer look at it at a more like throughout the day. Like we're not just going to let it sit there, and because obviously there's the stories where you can just go like, that's fine, that's not going to be a problem, and if it is, someone will fucking say something or report it. But so we were pretty diligent on the comments on that day, and again, a lot of the comments were even fucking positive. So it is what it is. But pretty big bands. There's pretty big bands that have reached out like on my DMs that have like kind of tried to not just, I don't know, not intimidate me by any means, but just like, say turn the comments off or get their fucking audience to turn the comments off. So it's like, that was a big one. We were like, no, we're not going to do that at all. And we drew our line in the sand with the death article thing and the moderation thing. Cause like, we don't want to like nerf Lambgoat any more than it may have already been nerfed over time. So, it is what it is. And there are bands that have issues with the comments that have like, don't post about us type things.
Yeah.
at all. And it's like, no, we're not going to do that. We're definitely going to post about you. You got to be a grown up and not worry about the comments or not check the comments because you have to click into each comment section. So it's kind of like you, and
Yeah.
agreeing to the terms of service of the comment section if you click in.
Right. I learned my lesson early, and I was just like, I'm just not going to read it. I did read one. I think there was a from a second story window one, and it's the usual stuff. Nothing like terrible, but I just laugh at it now. But I think somebody defended us to whoever, and I swear I think they called me out, and they go, oh, nice try, Paul, like thinking it was me defending the band, and I was like, no.
Yeah, those are good ones too. I mean,
Yeah.
and I understand, like, I'm not sitting here like someone who's just a complete douchebag and just like, no, you will have to read the comments because I don't care. But I mean, like, I promise you, no one's fucking getting dogged on any more than me in the comment section or the Facebook or anything like that. So, like, I promise you, if you look around, most of the comments you'll read about anybody are going to be about me, about killing myself, how fat I am, my dead mom, all this kind of shit. And you'll definitely see. But again, like I roll with the punches. None of that is, I mean, it's just random people on the internet. I don't care
Yeah,
about it.
you can't take it personal.
And that's just, it boggles my mind. There's people all over the internet just talking dumb shit on the stupidest article, like, fuck you, Lurk. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I get it though. That's a tough position to be in because someone says something really shitty and the band's upset and they're like, take it down. But you're like, well, they technically haven't broken any rules. So you got to say,
Right.
no, I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah. And I mean, depending on what level of band friendship we have. No, I'm just kidding. But it's very difficult, and I understand why a lot of these guys that run these outlets stay like far from any of that kind of like interaction because it's way easier to like be third party and not have to deal with like, oh, I know this person or I know that band now in some which way, like whether it be from the podcast or, I mean, I run into a lot of people on a day to day, not day to day, but like when I go to events or concerts or anywhere like that, the world is so small. This world is so small. You run into the same fucking people all the time.
well, let's go comment section aside for now. Was there any like major changes that you made right away when you got the keys that you were like antsy to do? Like, you're like, if I was in charge, I would do this.
Our coverage has expanded quite a bit on Lambgoat. Yeah. And not for the, I don't think for the worse. I mean, there are things that we cover that are a little more outside of the realm that I'd like to cover. Like there's a lot of like modern metalcore that is just like mallcore vibe type metalcore. I mean, those sometimes those are like choice by choice, right? I roll my eyes a lot of that stuff, but then again, like we cover a lot more hardcore than I think Alex covered back then, and we cover, I like new metal, so I cover a little bit more new metal than he probably did. But again, there's a line to be drawn. There's not going to be like, if Alex didn't post about it beforehand, we're not going to just start posting about fucking, I can't think of a random band, American Head Charge, right? Like if they came out with a new song, I'm not going to post about it on Lambgoat. Now we have other outlets in our network at LG Media that we can disseminate that information to, but Lambgoat, I do want to expand the coverage of it just so it increases traffic, increases audience, but also increases the eyes that could see the underground world too. Because our main focus is going to always be extreme underground music, and I think that's what Lambgoat stands out outside of its voice and attitude that it might like, people might think it has, like, the Lambgoat commenters and such. I think the legacy of it is it's definitely been a sponsor of like the underground and promoting a lot of smaller bands over time that even grown. I mean, like Lamb of God. Lamb of God's a prime example.
Was there like was there a band you always wanted to see covered that never did that you now cover, like a specific band?
I mean, yeah, I could say there's a lot. I feature a lot more North Florida stuff than probably Alex would ever feature, and Florida in general for that part too. So like I do, not that I will do one over the other. I'll post both, but if I find something, like something that's going on in Florida, I'll definitely post about it more times than not. And again, that's just my home wheelhouse. So like, I know more about what's going on here anyway. But also, there's a lot of cool stuff going on in Florida as far as like hardcore is concerned, death metal and metal in general. So, yeah, that's one thing that I started doing a lot more. I started, so you'd find like just random, real small bands from my little area of the world that are just popping up on the outlet.
Yeah. Well, I get it. I mean, that's where you're from. That's what you know.
But the cool thing about that is because okay, so there's not that there's a hierarchy of these outlets, but you be the judge if there is or not, right? So there are certain outlets that do certain things, right? Like Lambgoat is definitely more boots on the ground every day. Dylan and I are working at Lambgoat or growing the network, but focusing a lot of our time on Lambgoat. So we're out there like finding bands, finding stories, and all this kind of other stuff. The PRP is also a good outlet as in that way too. So like the PRP is breaking news, the Lambgoat breaks news. There's other outlets out there that are bigger than us that don't do any of that, and they just copy and paste like press releases, and they camp on our websites and then just copy some of those stories on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So like we get that a lot. And where was I going with that? What did you ask me?
The last question I asked was which was there a band that you always wanted to see covered?
Oh yeah,
When you covered
covered.
Florida.
Yeah. So in doing that, I've just posted randomly about these bands that I either know personally or they're in my area or whatnot, and then I'll see them pop up all over the other outlets. And I clear as day know that there's no other way that that outlet B would not know where this band's from or not know anything about that band. So that is also
Right.
kind of a cool thing for me because I get to expose stuff like that, but it's also annoying because I know they're getting more traffic and more everything like that because they're just a bigger outlet based off of our legwork. But to each his own, Paul, to each his own.
Did you change your process for finding news compared to how Alex did things, or how do you guys find things so quickly?
Yes, we've changed it dramatically. Uh, it's kind of proprietary a little bit. So like that's like the secret sauce for us. Um, we have a method and some things in play that kind of just like allow us to see a lot of things at once. And because outside of Lambgoat, like LG Media runs other websites too. Like we run other news outlets outside of just Lambgoat. So like New Metal Agenda, we partnered with the New Metal guy on Twitter. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but Classic Moments of New Metal. A couple years ago, we partnered with him and we started the New Metal Agenda to kind of ride the wave of like the new metal revival. We do Ghost Cult magazine. We're partnered with them. Metal Insider. Um, No Echo, the hardcore outlet. No Echo's on our network, and Anthony Fantana's The Needle Drop is another big one on our network. Most of these are just hanging out on the network and they just get ads and whatnot. But like Fantano's website, some other ones we got in the works, New Metal Agenda, we like staff those websites with writers and everything like that as well. So like when we onboard an outlet, we're like, hey, we have all these tools. How you get the news is one of those tools. So I can't really tell everybody what
Yeah.
all that entails, but yeah, that's just one of the perks of like kind of being on our network and being a partner on our network rather than just a ad person. But um, yeah, the Anthony Fantana's website is a much broader audience and much broader coverage. So like, you can post anything from like Barry Manilow to like fucking Napalm Death. It's everything in between can go on that website for the most part. And so that's been kind of fun because the news is endless on, on that.
Right. Speaking of new metal, even though they're not anymore, did you hear the new Deftones? Well, obviously you did. What do you think of it?
One of my favorite bands of all time. I love that song.
I thought it was great. I want them to take some more chances with, I don't know, it doesn't have to be like give me around the fur again, but like I feel like they're sticking to this formula since Koi no Yokin or however you say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to just see like do something a little different. But it's fucking great though, because it's the Deftones.
I I'm a weird Deftones fan, right? So like I came in at Shove It. That's when I kind of like found that band, and then they kind of immediately put out like White Pony, And I liked White Pony back in the day, but there was always something that was like kind of like rubbed me the wrong way about it. And so I never really dove too deep into it when they were coming out with like self-titled and then other things. I think I came back around at Diamond Eyes. Uh and that's my all-time favorite Deftones record in my opinion. I'm more of a sucker for their late discography than their early discography just because I think they found who they were shortly after White Pony. I think that White Pony was like the weird step outside of that box, that heavy box, and then they just became like this weird experimental alt metal band that like is just fucking groovy and melodic.
Everyone calls them shoegaze now, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but
I mean, if
it's
they've been gazing shoes for fucking 2 decades, then if that's the case,
yeah, no shit. I agree though. Diamond Eyes is definitely probably in my top three. Around the Fur is always up there. White Pony, Koi grew on me a lot too. I didn't like Gore at all.
Koi and Gore grew on me. I like more than Gore, obviously, and Ohms is a big one for me too. I listened to the shit out of that record a lot too. But yeah. Koi and Diamond Eyes are my favorite. But again, like I also hate the way that like those older records are recorded, and I think that the way the new records are recorded and the way they sound is just way better to me. It's more appealing on the ear. Um, a lot of that earlier grungier stuff, I get it, I understand, but it's just not palatable as later discography for me.
I I see what you're saying. I like Around the Fur. I don't like the way Adrenaline sounds. I was never huge on that one either. I kind of came in on Around the Fur, and then White Pony came out, so we're about the same on that. But Gore, I thought, had terrible production.
It's not the best, but it's got some good songs.
I tried it again after this song came out. I was like, let me go back and give it another shot because, like, they're also probably, if I had to pick a favorite band, would be that band.
Uh-huh.
And I listened to it in the car when I was going to the airport to pick up my girlfriend. And I was like, God, this just fucking sucks. I can't do it, and it hurts my soul to say that.
Phantom Bride saves the whole thing for me, and not really the whole song, just the very end of that song has like a really cool groovy breakdown part that just like I remember hearing it for the first time and just like wowed me. Because again, I was probably trying to get into that record, and it's not an easy listen. Like you got to listen to it for a long time, for a while before you really are like, oh yeah, I can kind of stomach this thing. So I understand why people don't like it, but I like forced myself there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. No, I. What about Saturday Night Wrist? I feel like that one gets skimmed over a lot.
let me just double check what's on there. I think is that Minerva or Hole in the Ground, Hole
That's
in the Earth.
Hole in the Earth. Yeah, Minerva is on the self
Oh
title.
yeah, Hole in the Earth, Cherry Waves, Up Down Left Right. Yeah, I mean that one's good too. That was really good. Dude, again, there's not a. I ranked these on the forum one time, and I pretty much got it. I think I got it dead on, to be honest with you. But
Yeah, Cherry Waves is a ripper. I love that one.
yeah, Deftones.
Ripper as in a chill song.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, that's not saying I don't listen to Around the Fur or Adrenaline or songs off those records. I definitely do. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, but I don't listen to a lot of the first three records just because I don't know. I'm trying not to let nostalgia like ruin whatever they got going on. Because there's other bands that like nostalgia doesn't save. Like for me, Korn doesn't hold up, brother. It, like never doesn't hold up the test of time in my book.
I still love the old shit.
I'm just not a fan.
Head and Monkey for me were like my idols when I was 13, 14. I was like, they're the coolest guys ever. Seven Strings were like, wow to me. And just, hearing a guitar tuned to A was just like the sickest thing.
Yeah, I mean, as a guitar player, having those I could see that, but like as someone who was just a fan of the music, like what is it? Life is Peachy, Issues. I think I stopped listening after Issues for sure, just because
I did too.
I think because I was also getting into like hardcore and metalcore stuff. But I went back recently because I do like a new metal night, right? So I have to when I play these songs out, like I play a lot of Korn stuff too, but like I went back and started listening to some other tracks that weren't like the hits, and even some of the hits don't hold up for me. But oh my god, most of the album does not hold up. Life is Peachy and the self-titled one, or what? Is that the first one? Is the first one
Self titles
self-titled?
first, yeah.
Yeah. then Life is Peachy, and then yeah, I'm like, God, dude, most of the shit does not stand the test of time. And then you have like, y'all want to single fuck that song, and you have all,
Oh, I can't do that shit.
and it's like I just not for me. Corn's not for me.
The one they put out a couple of years ago, I can't remember which one it was, like was the first like sign of like any of their old sound, and it was the only one that was palatable to me. What was it called? I'm trying to look it up right now. I need a Jamie.
Yeah, right.
I know. Hey, yeah, you're probably like, I need one too.
I fucking need a lot of things. Requiem? Nothing.
No, it was the one before. Yeah, the nothing had some good shit on it, but still, like, they're like Slipknot to me. After, I mean, even the third record, I don't really like that much. So after Iowa, I was kind of just like, blah, forever. I don't like. I always wait for it. I'm always excited, and then I'm always disappointed.
It's like one of those things where they're a band that kind of created a sound, and there are bands that do this all the time that can do it well, and there are bands that just it doesn't work well for them. I think Korn is a band like that. They have like a not a cookie cutter, but like a cup copy paste version of them, and every album kind of will sound the same for the most part, and then every album for the band you just mentioned will sound the same too. But it's like fuck, we already heard that from the first two records, like you said, and it's just not breaking any grounds.
It just seems watered down. I'm excited to see what they do with their new drummer. I forget his name. He's a fucking monster.
The guy from Sepultura.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah.
Hits hard as fuck. So I'll always listen because the first two are they're the special time in my life. I remember when Iowa came out, my friend went to the mall and bought it in Hot Topic and brought it because he already graduated high school and we were coming out. We sat in the school parking lot, listened to Iowa like all the way through. And I was just like, holy fucking shit. Like, that's probably my favorite one.
Slipknot was definitely a band we passed around in high school as well. That was one of the Roadrunner bands that kind of pulled me out of the full nu metal world. I mean, obviously they were also a part of the nu metal world then, but yeah. And again, I think what happened too is I just kind of like left nu metal in the back because at the time being a part of the scene in like 2002, it wasn't cool to be a Slipknot fan.
Yep, same here. I was afraid to tell people I still liked it.
But then like I blinked an eye, 10 years goes by and there's like fucking dudes in the pit with Slipknot shirts. And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I thought I wasn't all that.
It definitely came full circle again. Like I just had on, do you know Resider from California?
No.
They're a newer band. I think they just formed in like 2022, but they were on the last episode and they got this cool like blend of like Linkin Park, 2000s nu metal with some modern metalcore shit and super catchy voice. It's almost like Ollie Sykes sempiternal kind of singing in the choruses, really catchy. So I'm like, it's cool to see younger kids like just all about that shit now.
That is one of the things, like, again, not trying to plug my side passion, but my side little party that I do, but the nu metal thing is mostly fucking young kids, and it's wild to see.
Yeah, because it's so fun. It's just fun and easy to listen to.
Yeah, I'll ask them all the time, like, how'd you hear, like, what the fuck? Now, the bummer part is they don't know anything other than, like, System of a Down, Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, or Korn, or Slipknot. Those five, anything after that, they're fucking clueless. They don't know any of that.
Yeah. Do you do that? It's called Nookie Night or something, right?
Yeah. Mine's called Nookie Nu Metal Night.
How often do you do that?
It depends. I try to do it bi-monthly, like everywhere that we have a date at. So like we have a date here in Jacksonville, Tampa, Orlando, Atlanta, and Gainesville. But Gainesville is summertime right now, so the school's out, so we're not doing it. But when school comes back in, yeah, bi-monthly party. Kind of like emo night, but just not as fucking every month, you know?
That's fun. That's great. I remember going to like, it's like going to 80s night now.
Yeah.
When I was 21, going to 80s night, and man, we are so fucking old now.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fine too. There will be older people that come out to these nights, you know, and like the typical nu metal fan, they look exactly what you would think they would look like, but it's like 18-year-olds as well, and I'm like, how do you know? Like, where'd you get into this? And it's usually like, you know, my dad listened to this shit, and obviously,
yeah. The Deftones too. They blew up on TikTok. So like their audience, they just had like their biggest tour ever, and it's all like young people now, which is crazy.
Well, but they don't come out to the new metal nights because that's sexy. I don't play the
Yeah.
sexy songs. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not playing Change really because that's like a 6 minute long downer song. So like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's like coming down off of drugs at a party
Yeah,
song.
maybe like last song of the night type thing or whatever. But
Yeah. Oh, I remember what I was going to ask you. How many comments per week on average do you think you delete?
uh, well, let's preface this: negative comment or spam comment.
Let's say negative.
Negative comments. I mean, I don't know. Depending on the week, probably like 10. It's not as often. Yeah, it's not as often as everyone thinks, right? And the comment section does kind of police itself, obviously, right? A little bit here and there. A lot of people. I mean, it just depends on the type of article. Like we had a pretty big viral article last weekend, right? So Laura Jane Grace thing happened over the weekend, and that opens us up to a whole different ball game because it's the weekend, and not everyone's as active on the internet as far as like in-house moderation goes. But it's also like you have everything involved with like who's in the story and what kind of content is in the story that makes the comment section a little bit more feisty. And so, that
Right.
I probably removed like 20 comments off of that one story. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But 10 per week is like way less than probably most people would expect. Like I thought it'd be way more. I didn't think about the spam stuff though.
Yeah, I mean, like we get hit with. I mean, a person will hit 20 times on 20 different stories the same fucking comment. So I'll delete all those. But
Yeah.
and then we block those IPs too. So like if we get someone that does a lot of like weird comments or negative comments or whatnot, we'll or spammy type comments. It doesn't have to be like it could just be song lyrics over and over again, and we'll like put that person in timeout or eventually ban that person from commenting. So I mean, we do all of those things. You know what I mean? It's not like it's just a fucking Wild West. It's pseudo Wild West, but it's not full blown.
Yeah. You got to have some kind of moderation. Is there anyone that like a specific person or band that I know they shit on everybody, but like, is there anyone that you like think gets the most shit where you're like, oh, we're going to post this, it's going to be bad?
I mean, without being politically incorrect, you can kind of guess what bands probably catch more heat than not.
I got
There
you.
you go. Yeah. So if you have an outlier in your band, you're going to hear about it. Whatever that outlier is, and sometimes it's for the bad, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I think it's good for I can't remember the band's name, but the Lawn Chair Youth Lawn Chair Youth guys that do the videos, they had a band um that had a small like a little person as the bass player, and I think that really I'm sure they got a lot of comments about that, but it blew it up too, right? So it's a good and a bad thing sometimes. Same on Lamb.
Double-edged sword. Yeah.
Same on Lambgoat. I mean, like a Square Grind. I mean, there are bands like a Square Grind that constantly have these running gag jokes, right? Because of something that may have happened in their timeline of stories, like Creamy Chris. That's a whole thing with uh, fucking a Square Grind. But they're that's another band that has a few outliers in their lineup, but they understand the dynamic behind Lambgoat and what Lambgoat is. And like I've talked to them before and been upfront with them and stuff like that. So they are a band that like rolls with the punches. And they even put like Lambgoat comments on their actual shirt. Like they had like a long sleeve that had like Lambgoat comments running down the shirt, which is pretty fucking hilarious.
That's great. Yeah. If you embrace it and just roll with it, like you said, my cat's yelling at me. Come here, bud.
It's fine.
Uh, like then, they'll probably also like you more and kind of lay off a little bit,
I would assume if you don't have an issue with it, obviously if people know that you have an issue with it, guess what? They're going to exploit that a little bit more.
Yeah. You show weakness, they're going to smell blood in the water. And
Exactly. But I mean, to every person that like to every band that has an issue with the comments, there's like 20 bands that don't care or enjoy it. So
right. Yeah. No one in our band got very butthurt, I don't think. I think there was one really bad comment to Nick, which was like, this is definitely someone in our town who knows him. But for the most part, we stay out of it. What was I going to ask you? Oh, so pre Lambgoat, were you ever in a band? Did I remember seeing you
Yeah,
post something about that?
yeah, yeah.
What was the band?
I was in a really shitty metalcore band back in the day. It was called She Dies in December. Our claim to fame was covering Britney Spears' "Toxic" before like anybody else did, but eventually like a Static Lullaby and I think Dimmu Borgir covered the same song. But
What did you play?
I was the vocalist, so I didn't really have to carry anything to shows or like help with setup. So I loved it.
Yeah, I bet that's every vocalist. Load in time, they disappear.
Yeah. No, I was like a 20-year-old kid. That was so long ago. And that was like really the only band that I was ever in. But we did do a couple tours. Nothing really big time. It was just a bunch of high school friends, and then some of them went to the Navy and got real jobs, and then they all fell apart from there, you know?
Yeah. Do you remember ever like submitting to Lambgoat hoping to get coverage on there?
I mean, I was on the no. No, I didn't do that. But I was definitely on the fucking message board.
My first band, Robinson, when we were called A Good Day to Die, like I submitted stuff all the time and we never got on there until like I think our first full length came out or something. But it's like that first day you finally get a hit and you're like, yes,
Yeah.
we're part of the cool guys club now.
I mean, what the cool thing about Lambgoat, I'm assuming it's never changed, is once you're in, you're kind of like in because like once you start posting about our band, when the emails come through or when the stories come through, you're like, you know, I remember that band name about posting it. So once you're in, you're kind of in a little bit, which is good. But I never thought we were good enough to even fucking remotely try to even contact Alex about posting about my shitty band. I think I was like promoting it in the forum and got shit on then, and I was like, I'm good, you know. But yeah,
Yeah, you got to try. Our guys in from Second Story Window, it was Rob and Joe, I think. They went on Lambgoat and they just said, do you want a free demo? Give us your address and we'll just send it to you. And that was how they initially started getting the word out about From a Second Story Window. And it worked.
yeah,
And all of a sudden, there's like 10 kids who know you here, 5 kids who know you there. One of them is a promoter and wants to book a show. And that's how I think that's how they booked their first tour.
yeah. That's wild. I mean, the thing with like my band, I never thought we were like a real band, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Like we were just like literally guys that grew up going to high school together, and then we just found this kind of music within that same time frame of high school, and then we were like, let's just be a band, and then we were playing local shows, and then at some point we were just like, fuck it, let's go play out of town shows. But like it was just us, no one was helping do anything. It was all like MySpace connections and the internet. But I mean, that stupid fucking song helped out a lot because that's how everyone fucking knew us, you know, unfortunately and fortunately. But
Yeah, blessing and a curse with the
right.
covers.
That's not like that wasn't even a good song, you know. But fuck it. But yeah, I mean, I never really looked at us like a real band. Like even though we went and did like went to the studio and recorded and went on these tours and stuff like that, it was also like we're not a real band. Like I remember seeing you guys on Lambgoat and seeing all these other like Norma Jean, and like we were kind of like one of these chaotic core fucking like shit note bands, dissonant chord bands, and like I remember seeing all you guys on fucking Lambgoat at some point, and I was like, these are real bands. They're signed. Like we never submitted anything to any label whatsoever or anything like that. It was so just hanging out vibes, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it should be at first, and then maybe it goes somewhere. But if you like, as long as you're having fun and you're with guys that, you know, like these are like my brothers, you know, those are the bands that last, you know, because if you don't have that first, nothing else matters. Everything else will fall apart. To get in a van and go out for, you know, a month or longer with these people and not kill each other. Like there's so many things that need to fall into place for it to even work from the start.
Yeah. I mean, it's good that I have the most minute of those experiences so I can kind of somewhat correlate with the audience that I'm, you know, in generating content for and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's cool. I mean, and again, the thing is, I don't know anything about every band, and I don't know what you do before a podcast, but I do zero fucking prep work. So when I jump on a podcast with whatever band, it's like, fuck it, here we go.
I'll listen to their music, especially if they have something going on right now, and I'll get a vibe, and like I'll have like a notepad like here to the right, and I'll just like write down some like things and like things I'd like to ask so I don't forget. But I don't like plan out an interview or anything. I never want it to be like that. I love just conversational podcasts, and
Yeah,
so
go ahead, finish your thing.
I was just they can get boring if you're just aimlessly talking about nothing. So it's like I will like to have some like, oh, I wanted to ask that or that or that, but like, yeah, there's no
Yeah.
like outline.
I was curious. I mean, I'm gonna ask you. I don't get to talk to a lot of people that do podcasts, right? So like, I feel like I should ask you some questions in general to pick your brain, since you're so not new at it, but you're relatively new to the whole scene. But like, yeah, when I started doing podcasting in general, it was obviously because of Joe Rogan's podcast. I was like, I listened to it for like 15 years at this point. For better or worse, whoever is hating on that, but the Lambgoat podcast is really like that, but for metal and hardcore is what I'd like it to be. I don't want it to be just like, oh, hello, you've got your album coming out and a tour book like every other band does. Let's talk about all those things, you know?
Yeah.
So I'd rather you come on the show and connect with your audience or someone listening to the show in a different way than just like promoting your band and songs and stuff. We'll talk about it. Obviously, there's going to be bands that I'm genuinely curious about musically too, and like even if I'm not into the music or even familiar with the music, it's like okay, 1349. I really have no idea who the fuck you guys are, but I do now, right? Because I came to my house and did the podcast, and so now after talking to them, like I'll check them out because they're fucking black metal or black and black metal or whatever the fuck they are. You know, it's fucking corpse paint
Yeah.
metal, cool. But yeah, I don't know everything and I'm not gonna know anything, so I just fucking attempt it. I just swing for the gates, which causes a lot of like panic at the beginning. And right, I want to cancel every podcast right before I do it. So you know, I'll fucking be like, I don't want to do it today. I don't. And there's days where I have like three lined up, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Yeah.
But
I've never done more than one in a day. I probably couldn't because like I put too much into the editing and the clips and the graphics and all the like post
you
shit.
feel along
Like
with that, yeah,
I would kill myself if I had three in a day. Like,
yeah.
um,
I wish I
uh,
could do all that. I wish I could do it all. I'm just like I have other you know what I mean? And if I could, I'd hire a podcast manager person or whatever. And if we had the fucking money to do that, obviously, like that's the problem. There's like, you know, not a lot of money to be spent around here. But yeah, you do a really good job of that. So I will point that out. Kudos to you for that. You are going
thank
above and
you.
beyond.
Yeah, I was like, well, you know, I never even thought to do it because I love Joe Rogan. I've been listening to it since the Ustream days. It was the first podcast that I was like, oh, this is like, it's not like the news. It's not like a boring interview. It's just two guys in a room talking. And by the end of it, like you usually like the other person. And it's like, I would
Right.
check out that if they were a band, I would check them out now. When before, I probably wouldn't be interested because now you like the person.
Mhm.
And that's how I got my girlfriend into watch WWE because I made her
Yeah,
watch
I mean, I'm sure.
all the behind the scenes stuff and I made her watch Undertaker's The Last Ride documentary. And I was like, I know she'll like his character, but she thinks it's dumb, fake wrestling, which it is, but it's fun. And it's just, you like it, you like it. But I was like, she'll like it if she sees him be himself. And then she became a fan and she had an Undertaker shirt all of a sudden. And I didn't even have one. But yeah, like when I first started creating content on YouTube, like I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm shooting with my phone. I'm just, want to make stuff to help, get some buzz about our new songs or whatever. And I would just do covers and shit. And then I'm like, I'm not going to be the fucking internet guitar guy. I'm not that good. I'm not impressing anyone with my playing. So I was like, I want to do something else. And then I don't know if my girlfriend, Gladys, maybe she said, like, you should start a podcast because you love podcasts. It's all I listen to all the time. I put one
Mhm.
on to go to bed, one in the background when I'm working. So I was like, I guess so. Yeah, that would be more fun to me than just playing guitar and not impressing anybody. Like,
Yeah.
so I just winged it and I looked up like literally like how do people record podcasts, found Riverside, and then I've just been figuring out one thing at a time. I'd been barely editing videos for a year before that.
Yeah.
I've always done social and graphics for work. That's what I do. So that's where that came from. But yeah, I mean, I was like, I'm going to grind it out hard for at least a year. I'm going to do one per week and never miss one and just stick to that. And then we'll see what happens in a year because I can't keep going at this pace too. It takes up so much of my time
Right,
to like
right.
not be able to afford to hire someone. So at least hope to make a little bit of money. I just got monetized on YouTube. So thank you, watchers,
Right, right.
for that. So yeah, it's just 1 week at a time.
I've never even done that. I've never
But
been able to go 52 weeks and with 52 episodes in a year. Never. I've done like 50. That's the closest. And then when I was going to take over, when I when I asked Alex, the podcast stopped. So the podcast stopped for about a year while we were in transition because I didn't want to add value to something that I was purchasing, was
Yeah.
or take value away. Or actually, I would have taken more value away. I should have done it and done a shittier podcast for a year.
Make this cheaper.
Right. But no. So then after everything was done, I brought it back. Which, you know, a year out, when you're a year off, there's going to be some like ground to make up. So we're still making that ground up. But no, it's yeah, I just got into podcasting the same way. Like I listened to Joe's podcast for a long time, and I always tell everybody when before the podcast starts, I'm like, hey, this is my little rundown spiel that I give everybody, and it's usually like, it's like Rogan's podcast, and most people, obviously, in our world, do not listen to the Joe Rogan podcast for one reason or another. But as someone who's listened for like over a decade, I mean, like, who that person is and where they stand on all sorts of topics. So like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Your opinion on him is not gonna like make me not stop watching his content because
Well,
it's
he
good.
gets wrongfully pushed into things like by people who've never even seen it other than a out of context clip,
Or clip, yeah, and that like and that's his podcast is something you definitely have to watch like in full because it's so deep in a lot of areas. But that's what I want it to be. I don't want it to be every interview and I don't want it to be an interview either. That's why like we have to do different interviews outside of the just like the Van Flip podcast because I want the podcast to be this type of thing. But it's also really hard to do it via Zoom or via like this. I hate it. I hate these kinds of things.
Me too. I wish I could do it in person.
The podcast started in person, and then COVID hit, and we just went to this, and then it became like, oh, I can get so many more guests this way. But I think the in person podcast really pulls the audience and the listener in way better than just this. But
Yeah, and
again,
then you don't have the
well,
awkward talking over each other and the delays and like I've had so many issues where we like with Kyle from Body Snatcher, we spent an hour and a half trying to fix everything before we even recorded. We should have been done by then. Like it was just so I would love to not have to deal with this shit. And yeah, it just in general being in the same room, you have a better conversation. It's more engaging to watch. So I don't know. Like I've been back and forth on like should I have a little bit of structure just to help the audience, because it's really hard if you don't know either anyone on the screen to like just care about them talking about bullshit. So I was like, it might help pull in new people if I make it a little more interesting and but still keep it somewhere in that balance of like it's just a conversation, but I plan it out a little bit more. And I started doing like the rapid fire fun questions at the end, which brings out a lot of good stories and shit. But anytime it gets beyond a certain line, I feel really corny,
yeah.
And
I mean, I feel really corny a lot of times too because again, I'm just fucking like raw dogging these podcasts of like bands that I may not know, right? So like there are times where like every intro to my podcast is fucked. It's just like you can tell that I'm like just somewhat nerves are getting to me, and like you have to start this fucking thing. You got to get it off the mountaintop and roll it down the hill because the other person is not going to.
yeah, they're just like waiting.
Yeah, and so like I stress like, hey, they don't want to hear me talk. I've heard it. I've heard ad nauseum. Nobody wants to hear me talk. They want to hear the guest talk. So if you feel like you're rambling, just keep fucking rambling. It doesn't. I don't care. I'll follow you. And
Yeah.
so, but that initial lift is so hard. I'll mispronounce everyone's name, and we'll go over it right before the podcast, and then the light will come on, and I'll fuck the name up right away. And I mean, 9 times out of 10, go listen to any of my podcasts. That's what's going on. It's fucking nuts.
See, I will prepare in the beginning of like just a notes of like their most recent albums or wherever we're going to talk about where they're from. And I'll kind of think about what I want to say in intro because I record a separate intro, so I don't have to put them through that.
I'm trying to do as little as possible, and if I can get it all within that little fucking time frame, fucking good.
How deep do you go into like looking at analytics and watch time and shit?
I don't. How bad will it hurt my feelings that day? Just whatever. No, I mean, I look at it obviously, and I pay attention to it, and I do pull up things like 5 minutes before the interview or podcast or whatever. I'll like pull up like what we've posted about them on Lambgoat. I might pull up their like metal encyclopedia fucking page too, just so I can get like members and like discography stuff, and then Wikipedia maybe if they got that. I'll also like recently started just asking ChatGPT about like just off the wall questions that, you know,
Mm.
aren't about the band or aren't about music, that can just be like, what are some thought provoking questions that you could ask on a podcast that are not related to anything that we're talking about normally.
Oh, yeah, I've done that too. Like, I use you ever use Monday on Chat GPT? It's a different GPT. It's like an emo, like it's more negative, and it'll like talk shit to you, but still be as helpful.
No.
So like I would like write up some stuff, and like I'll do this for work too. Like when I write captions for social media, I'd be like, is there a better way to say this, or whatever, when I'm stuck on something. So I'll just like throw it in there, and it'll be like, oh, this sucks, and it'll just like talk shit about it, but then it'll like redo it like the normal GPT. And I
No.
found it, the regular GPT is such a cheerleader, and it's so annoying sometimes, where it's like it just wants to agree with you on everything, and it's like I found that refreshing. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I go into the analytics, and I see like I noticed at first like the watch time, it drops sharply on
Immediately.
almost every video, and I know that's just like it's sending it out to random people, and most people don't know who you are, so they'll click it and be like, oh,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this? But I was like, I wonder if I could mitigate that at all, so it could help push it out to more people. So I'll use that idea to like, let me tweak the thumbnails. Maybe the thumbnail's stupid. Maybe it's not engaging enough. Maybe in the first minute it needs to be a little more interesting. So I started putting clips from the podcast at the beginning to see like, oh, if I show some of the best moments, maybe they'll stick around. So
Yeah.
it's not just me going, hey, it's episode number fucking whatever.
Right.
So every week I'm trying to do something a little bit better just to improve the stats, fucking 1% or whatever I can do.
Of course. And that's great on your part, Paul. You should get a hand for that. I'm very envious that you spend the time to do that or have the time to do that. Um I just, yeah, it's a hard sell, because like we go through ebbs and flows on our podcast, and you would think, I think we get more audio listens than we do video listens for sure, but it's also like, oh my god, do I want to fuck it? I hate making um a fucking thumbnail image in general. Like that's like, I'll have everything ready to go, and they'll be like, all right, oh fuck, I gotta make a fucking thumbnail for YouTube, and then
Yeah,
it's
there's
just,
always one more thing you got to do or write a caption for or
and I've
something.
got a template. I know I've set it all up for templates, so it's not that fucking hard for me. But like, I just spend as less time as possible on it, because again, there's other things that are going on behind the scenes here. So like, it's just Dylan and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand when it comes to Lambgoat, is like, we do have like a writing team. So like, there are a team of writers that we do have like a Discord with, and they do contribute mostly like lists, features, reviews type things. There are a handful of them that do attempt to tackle some of the news items, which helps out, because then I don't have to I don't have to focus on the news, and I can
Yeah.
focus on other things, and like maybe get someone to help me out the podcast, or sell ads for the ad network, or onboard other websites to the network, and merchandising and stuff like that. So these are all things that we're kind of like working on this year to try to brand Lambgoat and get it to a different not a different audience, but a bigger audience, and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
help showcase the weird world of DIY underground and extreme music. Ruin other people's lives. I like to say.
Yeah. The back to the thumbnail thing, like when I did notice it improved a slight bit when I used to just use like a really cool live photo of the band or whoever, and then the logo and episode, whatever their name, and like people would click and just bail because like some people they expect to see something like that, or maybe I'm at the live show interviewing them,
Right.
and so they click and they see this shitty like Zoom thing, and they're like, "Fuck that."
Yeah.
So I started. I was like, let me put our faces from the actual call in there. I'll just cut us out and then put a background that's like whatever, and then that seemed to help a little bit because they at least know what they're clicking on. That it's like two people on a thing like this. So that was my last attempt at making it upgrade. I looked at Theo Vaughn's podcast. I just like stole what he does for his
Yeah.
thumbnail.
I mean, ideally, I'd like to have like the audio like as best as possible, because like I'm not a fucking audio engineer. You know what I mean? Like, I looked up like certain settings on how to set your podcast up on like Google one day, and I've just been running with that for fucking 2 years. So who the hell knows if that's even good? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. But so like, I'm just out here like raw dogging the whole experience. Like, I there's new.
Audio secret weapon, Adobe Podcast, is free. And I just,
I use fucking Audacity.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
like it's
it's probably
just
better.
it's just an AI enhancement tool. So I'll get the full edit and I'll export just the audio, drop it into Adobe Enhance, and then there's sliders you can adjust of how much it fixes it, remove background noise. Sounds like everyone's got a great mic. It's really good. So that's what
Yeah.
I've been doing.
I should definitely do that because, again, it's not the Joe Rogan experience over here. It's like literally twigs and tape. But
Yeah.
we'll get there one day. We'll get there one day. I'm coming up to 200 episodes this year, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's a lot. I'm thinking like 200 episodes. That's like 4 years at my pace. I'm like, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's been about 5 years. I mean, but again, I had a year off, so take that into consideration. But I will say this: it is a lot. I've done it for 180. I've put out 182, 181 right now as we speak. It's a love hate relationship with that motherfucker, dude. I swear to God,
Hmm.
I love it and hate it. I want to cancel it every day, but then it's like also the longest thing that I've done. You know what I mean? Like stuck around and done and put out that much content at one, for so long. So it's like, fuck. At what number do I choose to stop? But do I not? Who knows? I don't know.
I have my weeks where I'm like, I don't want to not do a podcast, but I don't feel like right now, tonight, sitting down for 2 hours and staring at a screen after already staring at it all fucking day and have a conversation and be in a good mood because you're just not always going to be. But like, it's never because I don't like doing this. It's just, you're not always going to feel like it. And then I know like as soon as I hit stop on recording, I have 10 hours of editing and graphics and whatever to do. And I don't even have weekends anymore.
Really?
Like this is all I put my time into because I'm like, one day, it may pay off and I could hire someone to do some of this work and, not expecting to get rich off it, but it would be nice to make some money and keep it going and take some of the pressure off.
Yeah. We don't make money. So there's that. I mean, we make a little bit of YouTube revenue, which is like less than $100 a month,
Yeah. It's
and
so hard to make money on there.
that's from like all the content on our YouTube. So it's not just the podcast, but the podcast doesn't necessarily make any money. It's more of a fucking just you put time into it for right now. But I mean, again, we took a break, so that kind of hurt us in the long run. And we were also one of the first. We were one of the first, like, or in the first wave of metal podcasts. So like we had that going for us in the beginning, and then everyone else had a podcast, and then of course we stopped, and so they kept going and whatnot, and more popped up in that time frame. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's just difficult to do and difficult to juggle it all the time. And like there are times where I'll like knock a couple out in a week or a couple in a day, and I might buy like a month of not having to sit down and do it, which then you get into like I don't want to fucking get back into the fucking rigmarole, you know? But it's one of those things too, where like when you do for a week, you're like, fuck yeah, I knocked out four, I knocked out four, and you kind of want to keep that going, that momentum going too, and you know, like it's endless of who you can talk to. But again, like I really miss the impersonal type podcast because like you can have beers with the guys or the person, or you can you
Yeah.
smoke weed with a guy, or you're hanging out, and like the original ones were at my house, so like they would come to my house and we would just hang out for a little bit, way more chill than a standard like interview at a show or something like that, I feel like. But
Especially because before you record, you've already been hanging out for a little bit. And when it's like someone you've never met and you're just on a Zoom call, and it's like, all right, we're hitting record and going. It's so awkward. So like you said, like the intros are hard. So that's another thing I'll try to prepare for. It's like, what's the first thing I could ask that will just break the ice and be kind of engaging also for the listener to stick around? Like, oh, this isn't going to be a fucking boring 2 hour thing. You ever watch Chris Williamson?
yeah, of course, yeah, I'm in the sphere, dude. We're in the
Yeah.
same sphere podcast sphere, dude.
So you know how he always starts the episode with some like awesome epic question that's just like so thoughtful. Same with the Diary of a CEO guy. Like he says, it's like all like serious and like cool, and it's like if I tried to do that, it would just be like,
I know, but I'm caught in between those types of podcasts and the Rogan attempt, where it's just like fucking whatever, let it roll. Let's smoke weed. I don't give a shit. But then again, like I'll watch those other podcasts and I'm like, these are fucking super insightful. But I know for a fact I don't have the wherewithal to do that input beforehand and whatnot. So I know that in my podcast, it'll never be that.
I,
Never.
I'm like I'm like a quarter of that and 3/4 Rogan right now. So I'm like I'm trying to find the balance somewhere in the middle, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
But only 30. This is what this is episode 34. So I'm still brand new.
yeah. It's one a week for you.
Yeah, I
So
started in
you
December.
so you do it that week, and you don't like load up episodes.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
So far it's just been like record, edit, it's ready for the next Monday, and I'm booked like 2 to 3 weeks out. I try not to get too far ahead of myself with that too, because people forget or their plans change, and it's like, why am I going to book all of August and September and July? So it's just I try to book 2 or 3 out and then just do one at a time, because it's like with all my other work too. Like I'm sitting here all day, like doing social media shit and graphics, and then I got to sit here and do this, and then
Yeah,
sit here all weekend and edit it and all that. And
yeah.
like, I'm not complaining to everyone out there. It's just a lot of work.
It definitely is a lot of work. And when we were in person, it was multi-angled, and we had like I was editing multi-angle like in Final Cut Pro in the hardest like Neanderthal way, so it would take forever. It wasn't like, and especially back then, AI prompts or AI help was not available at all then. But now, I mean, I'm sure we could figure something out, like if we did multi-angle and whatnot. But dude, it was multiple cameras, multiple cards, and you just have different files. And the last time I did that was I had Daryl from Glassjaw on the podcast. And when you have the availability to do Daryl from Glassjaw on your podcast, you go to him and you do it in person. So that's what we did. And I had to take fucking three different camera angles and edit that bad boy too. But all for the love.
Yeah, that's a whole nother beast of like, because like Riverside, the one good thing about it is it's recording your audio and video separate, my audio video
Yeah.
separate, and there is an AI click, and it'll automatically make you full screen when you're talking. It's not perfect, so I'll go through and like fix it up, and then I got to export that, then put the logo and the music and all the other shit.
Oh shit, I didn't know it was like that, dude. I literally just do a Zoom call. I capture the Zoom call in OBS, so not even in Zoom, so I don't even get the fucking audio. So I have the audio coming out of my Mac into into an outboard or an out thing audio, and then it goes back into the Mac USB, so it can capture both audios, like the speaker audio and my input audio. So again, it's really just twigs and tape around here. It's Neanderthal shit. It's not hard. Like this Riverside thing is blowing my mind. I'm like, oh yeah, for socials, I could definitely use that for fucking. But I mean, I Opus Clip. I use Opus Clip for that.
Yeah, how is that? Because Riverside chooses like the worst moments, but I'll still use it to like, I'll give it a prompt and be like, find the moment I asked this, and then I'll still cut it, but it'll at least find it in the episode for me.
Opus is really good with finding stuff like that. I mean, it might just be pulling like 30 clips of bullshit, but like most of the time I'm like, okay, yeah, that's worthwhile. I mean, it'll spit out like 30 clips, but I'm not posting. Dude, I haven't posted a fucking clip in like a month, so who knows? But I'll post like one or two a week when I'm on it and I'm thinking about it. But again, we need help. We need help.
Yeah. No, I feel you, but you know, kudos for sticking with it for so long. You started in what, 2019?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and kudos for Alex just like letting some fucking idiot start it up. That's why I mean I had to have him on the first couple because I was like, he knows, he knows everything. He knows everything he's posted about for like 20 years. I'm coming, I'm coming with a background in this stuff, but also like 10 years removed at some point between, at age 28 or something like that. I might have fallen out for like 8 years and then got back into heavy music or whatnot. But because I do a bunch of other shit that is involved in music too. Like I produce music, I DJ music and all this other shit. So like I like all types of music, but
Yeah.
my youth was spent just like obsessed with this. And then obviously as I've aged, I got really back into it. And then obviously as Lambgoat's become my main fucking thing. But
Yeah. I was detached too. After From Second Story Window broke up, I moved to California and I didn't look at anything like for the last 15 years. Like I still listen to the bands I like and stuff, but I wasn't actively searching, and I'd check Lambgoat occasionally. And but yeah, like so since we got back together, I've like been paying attention again. I'm like, oh, all these new bands and things are way different now, and with social media.
yeah, much bigger. There was like when I was stepping away, it was like mid 2010s, something like that, around the early 2010s, I started really kind of like focusing more on electronic music. And there was also like a lull, and I was into like metalcore really big then, but there was like a lull in like good metalcore, in my opinion. It was more like mallcore stuff was like, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
try to
I never liked that shit.
clean singing metalcore started really popping off, and I was like, whatever. Um, I got back into like more hip hop and like electronic music, but then I got back into hardcore, late tens, early teens, late teens, and yeah, all downhill from there again, So
Yeah. Who are some of your favorites of these newer bands? I'm still figuring out who everyone is, but like I love Knocked Loose. I think Lorna Shore's sick. I mean, Knocked Loose isn't new, but you know what I mean? Like new
yeah,
generation.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I did like them quite a bit before we had a run in, but I still I still enjoy their music. I don't think we're on good terms.
Oh no. You
Yeah.
want to talk about what happened or
They're just involved with the Maddie thing from earlier on, and Brian was very opinionated about it, and so we had an exchange via Twitter. It wasn't a big thing, but I was just like, I was at the hospice with my dying grandmother as this all was going on, so it's like not the best time to deal with all that. But
yeah.
I don't have, I fucking will post about them, and I listen to them still. Not everybody in the Lambgoat camp is as lenient as I am, but I don't care. It's like I get what they were doing, but also I was standing up for Lambgoat too. But new bands that I like that are fucking relatively new. Trap Pile's pretty good. I really like that. Blood Incantation's not new, but this new album, the shirt that I'm wearing, Absolute Elsewhere, I've listened to that a fuckload. You know what I mean? And that's a lot because I don't really like a lot of like death metal like that. But
Yeah, me
uh,
either. But when it's good, it's great.
oh, no, it was really good. God, what else, dude? I've been listening to a lot of new metal these days. There's a couple new metal bands out there too that are like
Yeah, hit
adjacent.
me with those.
Orthodox is one of those bands. Orthodox are like a straight edge hardcore band from Tennessee. Um, yeah, they're pretty good, and they've got like a little bit of new influence. Dude, we posted about a band, God, within the last week or 2 weeks. I know we posted about it on New Metal Agenda. They're like a new metal band. I think they might be related to somebody in Slipknot, and that's usually the case, isn't it? Someone's usually related to Slipknot, and they're like, a fucking new metal adjacent band. Um, there's a lot, but there's also I listen like you. I listen to a lot of my older stuff still on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I'm stuck in like the same 10 records and fucking Converge and I do love I love every new record Norma Jean puts out. I think they get better and better.
As as time has gone on, they also grown on me as well. I mean, I was big into them when I was in a band, but I kind of stopped really listening to them as much. But the last couple of years, like since Polar Similar, I've kind of really been paying more attention to them.
Yeah, All
Yeah.
Hail was so good.
Yeah, that one was. Yeah, I was gonna say like from that album on, I really started paying a lot of attention to them. But I've also revisited a lot of the older discography that I kind of missed, and yeah, big fan. But also a big fan of like the Josh and Norma Jean era, right? So
Yeah, there's the people that are like that's the only Norma Jean is Bless the Martyr, but
yeah,
I personally started like from Redeemer on was my favorite and now it's basically Corey's band at this point.
of course, yeah. I agree that All Hail is a banger record. I think banger All Hail and Polar Similar are my like two newer Norma Jean faves. But you Converge guy, I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question because I was just talking about this with some of the guys that post on Lambgoat. Because I've met quite a number of people off of the forum message board and comment section, for better or worse. I've met them in person. So I have a text thread with some of them, and we were talking about Converge, and like, I mean, I look at Converge the same way I look at the Deftones. I think they really are better at the back end of their discography, But again, everyone's gonna jump out of their fucking skin when I say that because you have Jane Doe and then all the album, the EPs before that too. So like, I get it, I totally get it, and I'm not saying that that's like not their mega
I agree.
merch.
No, I
I like their older shit or newer shit. Sorry.
Jane Doe on. I think yeah. Uh, there's some good stuff on the older stuff, but it never hit me as much. Like Jane Doe like changed my life, and
Well, it changed everyone's life. And like the thing is, like that's an abrasive record to me. Like even today, there's
yeah,
days where I can go without listening to it, and there's days where I can listen to it. There's songs I'll skip and songs that I don't skip sometimes. So like, it's just an abrasive record overall. Whereas, and again, a lot of that comes down to the production and whatnot of the time frame. But dude, Dusk and Us was a fucking
Dustin
banger
Us is
record,
sick.
and
What's the other one? No Heroes.
yeah, that's mid 2000s or whatever. Yeah, No Heroes is a good one. Uh, Axe to Fall is a good one. That one came after that one, I think. And then,
You Fail Me is my close second to Jane Doe. That record is amazing.
dude, I want to, if we're going to rank, I thought about ranking Converge albums recently for Lambgoat for like a list just to like kind of like stir up the pot because no one's going to really agree with mine. But yeah, like Dusk and Us, I fucking really do like Dusk and Us.
Yeah,
I might be on an
that's
island
what
on my own.
2023.
No, 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 that one came out in 17. The deluxe edition came out in 23 though.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, I was gonna say they haven't had a record since what? Oh, 2021 was the last one, Blood Moon.
That's like
Which
the collaborative thing with that Chelsea Wolf. And I'm not a big fan of that album. I can't really get into it.
I'm not either. So
But all we leave
2020,
behind is
there.
Help People too.
Yeah, that one's good. Axe to Fall, I don't remember much of.
Great.
Yeah, great.
It's great. Oh my God, it's got like at least 5 fucking bangers on them. No Heroes is good too. I mean, dude, this is a band that doesn't miss, but I think Jane Doe gets a lot of fucking love, whereas a lot of these other records should get some love too. I think Jane Doe is a great record and it's a seminal record for them, but like, is it bigger than You Fail Me or Axe to Fall or No Heroes or any of those? You know what I mean?
No,
Because like that's a different time frame for Converge, and you know,
uh,
it got on fucking MTV with You Fail Me, I believe.
yeah, You Fail Me is probably my favorite. I think I'm just the nostalgia of how shocking hearing Jane Doe was
Right. Yeah, yeah.
for them doing that. Like if that record came out today, it would have the same impact. I feel like it's unbelievable. But
Dillinger's the same way too. Like for me, I'm a big proponent of liking their later discography where a lot of these bands like Converge, Dillinger, and all these kind of chaotic hardcore bands. It was wild. It was wild at the time, obviously, because nothing was like that, and that made it kind of like unique. But it's when these bands were still being wild and found their footing is when I really enjoy most of their artwork or art because, like I said, some of these are just like super abrasive. Like some of that earlier Dillinger shit is also super abrasive compared to like Miss Machine or Operation Paralysis or something later on. You know what I mean? And those songs are still as spazzy and as good as some of the earlier shit, But I digress.
yeah, I mean, nostalgia kind of always wins for everyone, even if they're blind to noticing that. Um, but yeah, like the first time I heard Jane Doe, it blew my mind. But if I had to really be objective about it, I think You Fail Me would probably be my favorite. First Light, Last Light, the opening of that record, the intro, and the first song is just like, God.
I last night when I was at the gym, I put Axe to Fall on, and I was like, "Fuck, it's so good."
I'm gonna have to listen to that because I don't remember much off it. I remember No Heroes, All We Love Leave Behind. Yeah,
Axe has like Dark Host, Reap What You Sow, Axe to Fall, Cutters on there, Worms. My favorite Converge song is on Dusk though. It's the I Can Tell You About Pain. I don't know why, but that's my favorite one they've done in the last couple of years. But
yeah. Okay, that I remember that one. And Under Duress is really good, right?
yeah, dude, and I'll just put like set list playlists together. Like they may play somewhere. Like I think I have when they played Furnace Fest, the first Furnace Fest back, I have that set list, and they opened up I think with Under Duress or something like that. But uh, yeah, I'll do like certain specific set list playlists on my Spotify and just run through those.
Oh, back to the AI stuff. So, what are your thoughts on AI in general, and not just music?
Yeah. Um, I mean, if you listen to Rogan and stuff like that, it gets pretty freaky, but I tend to like not really take most of that to heart. Just kind of like, I use ChatGPT to help me do this simple task, like I'm not super into like doing a lot. Not saying that we don't use a lot of AI because Dylan, my partner, is more of a back end kind of guy, and he's more of a programmer designer more so than I am. So we do use a lot of like things because again, it's just me and him, so we have to like have ways to help out and facilitate what we need sometimes. But um, I mean, it's pretty cool. I get it. Like a lot of people are upset by it. I get like a lot of people are like, "Oh, you used your art." I mean, we post about the same shit. Album artwork has AI, or this band is an AI band, or whatever. So like, you know, Dylan and I talk about it all the time, honestly. And I think people just don't understand what AI is really, or what it's really capable of, or what its limitations are per se. So like a lot of people think it's going to take a lot of jobs, and it might take a lot of things, but AI is also not going to have heart and soul and all this other kind of stuff that permeates into art for the most part. So whereas like yeah, you can generate an album cover, but it's going to be like a weird. You're not going to be exactly what you think should represent your piece of art, right? That it'll just be whatever AI spits out. Same with other things, but like in your world, right? Like you make social media posts, like dude, it's so much. It's like you think of a fucking piece of copy and you put it into there, and it'll spit it out 20 different fucking times in different ways
Yeah.
to see it. So it's
And a lot of times I won't even use what it gives me. It'll just give me another idea, and then I'll write a better caption
right,
because of
right,
it.
right. Yeah, and like I'll do it for like descriptions on merchandise, right? So like because all this stuff has to be SEO optimized for the best way to get attention to your merch or something like that, right? So like, and this isn't just for Lambgoat, this is for other things too. But like, yeah, I'll put in like some stuff, and it might spit out like a blurb, and I'm like, oh damn, that's like I didn't even think about this particular part, and then that'll make me go down a different rabbit hole with the whole description or script or so to speak. So I'm for it, but again, I see why people are against it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like there's a lot of doomer guys out there. There was a guy on Rogan recently that was like, "We're all gonna die," and he's like, "Serious," And it's like maybe, but right now, like, no, we're still far off from having anything resembling like actual super intelligence.
Right.
Like Chat GPT can't even Google right still when I ask it questions. It knows something. I'm like, I know that's not right, and
Yeah,
it's wrong all the time. It's just a glorified assistant at this point.
yeah, it still lies to you. So, and it still hallucinates when making images and stuff like that. But I mean, like, these are all good. Those are all good tools. Like, like especially for artists. Like, artists are divided on it, obviously. But the artists that embrace that, as far as like even for just like general idea and creativity things,
Mhm.
it's great. You know what I mean? Because like, it's not saying you're gonna have this AI generate your final piece of artwork, but it may like give you a good starting point or like good creative idea, and then you'll just build from there. It's good in that aspect where it thinks outside your own box because obviously it's fucking open to everything.
I have no problem with people using it if they're transparent. If you write an album and put that out and you try to monetize that, then obviously that's fucked up and stupid. I would never use it to make music, not even ideas for music. I always want that to come from me. But
Yeah.
like if you're a band and you use it to make a social media video or artwork for whatever or a flyer, like who cares? Like that's not what their art is. Their art is the music. So that's just a supplemental thing. So like I used it to come up with basis and ideas for from a second story window stuff, like the Earth and Eyes cover, that was made in AI originally. Then I went in and edited the shit out of it, changed the
Yeah.
colors, whatever. And it's like we are not like a an artist, or we're not a visual artist. We're making the music, so like
Right.
we didn't have an artist we wanted to work with. So I was like, okay, I can do graphic design. Let's see what this pops out for ideas, and it was some really cool shit I would never think of. Like,
Of course, yeah. But that's the thing, like it's it's just a tool. It is just a tool, and it's how you use it and in this way or that way, but it gives you it gives you such an upper hand if you're just like one person though too. Like it's so like one person can create a website, can create an app, can you know create fucking a business outline. You know what I mean? Like these are things that like a single person may not be able to do, even with all the power of Google and all the things that they may. You know what I mean? Like AI is going to cover so many more different bases than you would in some of these things that you're in your box, like right. It'll think outside your box, but it is what it is. So I get why all like the hardcore kids hate it, and I see why some of the metal kids like it. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's an argument that it will steal jobs, but the thing is like whether you agree with that or you're on board with it or not, like it's going to happen. So you might as well embrace it because it's going to be part of everyday life for everyone. Once the hardware catches up, everyone's going to have a fucking robot, and it's going to be Chat GPT in its head, and it's
Mhm.
going to be 10 times smarter than you. And I know that's scary to people. I mean, it's scary to me too, but like it's coming.
Yeah.
And
And if we don't do it, someone else will do it in a different part of the world. So even if we stopped, it's still coming. So
yeah. And another thing with like Spotify, I think YouTube is banning stuff from being monetized if it's fully AI video, which I think is great. Like because then it de-incentivizes people to use it and just, create a fake artist or create a fake video and make money off it. But Spotify is not, which is bullshit. Like they are letting people upload fully AI songs and monetize it and make money. And then they're incentivizing that themselves because they don't have to pay the artists. Uh,
what do you think about that kind of stuff though? Because like I think monetizing AI output, I don't care if you do it or not, because I think the general public just thinks like you can be like, write me a cool kill switch engaged song, and it'll just like do that, and it'll
I
just be
think you
like,
can now though.
it'll be perfect. I think you have to fill way more with it than you would think. Like, because when you do like image generation, you have to be very, very specific and and you have to be very cautious of what you put in and what the input is and what the output is. So like I've never attempted the music thing, so I don't necessarily know. But
I haven't either. Yeah.
there's also like in production, in like song production and digital music production, there's also like stems and loops and all this other kind of shit that are typically songs built already that are just deconstructed that you can arrange in different ways, which are technically almost the same thing. It's just not AI doing it completely for you. But I don't know. I've never uh, meddled with that, so I would assume you have to have like some decent knowledge of like prompts, AI prompts to make a real good song.
What's his name? Do you know Rick Beato on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did a video on that and he made a song on the video and he just typed in make it sound like this. He wrote the lyrics in another AI thing and just put that in and it just popped out like a full-on pop song. And he didn't have to do shit. So like you literally need zero musical ability. So you could create a fake artist, you can create a fake image of like a pop star, create a hot girl, put it on Spotify, fake bio, all fake music, you didn't write anything and you can make money off that. That I do have an issue with. I think they should let them do it, but you shouldn't be able to monetize that if you're not really doing it.
Yeah. I don't know, tightrope. Not that I'm saying they should monetize it or not monetize it, but again, there is some kind of effort being put in to make that output come out. So there is that, but you know,
I think that's my line because other than that, I use it for everything. I have no problem if a band makes a music video with it. It's not their songs.
yeah,
It's just a supplemental piece of art for it. So, especially if you're transparent.
yeah, you don't have 20 grand for a music video. Get out of here, losers.
Yeah, we shot in the basement of Joe's screen printing shop for the
Yeah,
lowest
yeah,
video
yeah,
on my iPhone too. Yeah,
yeah. So you have
it
to
came,
do that.
it came out as good as it could for zero budget, and I had never made a music video before.
Yeah, and iPhone sold a couple iPhones with that marketing ploy that you could shoot real fucking video on this bad boy for like a movie or a music video.
Yeah, there's been full movies shot with them. The new 28 years later or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
that was shot all on iPhone. That guy does that on purpose. But he of course, if you look at his rig, it's like kitted to the gills with like all kinds of lenses and stuff. But it is all on iPhone, which is crazy.
That is pretty interesting. I was going to ask you some more questions about your podcast really quick. I don't
Yeah,
know
go for it.
what you want to roll for, but because I have to pee here shortly. But yeah, like who's the weirdest person that you've seen like engage with the podcast or whatnot? Like wildest person you've seen engage with it?
Like you mean like a comment or something?
Yeah, or share it or whatever. Because like
Um You wildest in what way? Like,
It's most surprising.
there was I had the bass player for Chapel Roan on,
Yeah, yeah.
and there was some like really big producers and people that she's friends with in LA that were like liking it and sharing it and commenting on it. I can't remember any of their names right now, but that was like a weird moment because it was the first one that was outside of my little metal world
Yeah, yeah.
of people who know Robinson and Fastwa. And so that was strange, but it was really cool. And from the beginning, I've always wanted this to be like you said, or like the Joe Rogan. Like, I can talk to anybody. If you're cool and you're passionate about what you do, I'll talk to anyone from any genre. I never wanted to be pigeonholed into just the MySpace era of guys I toured with in 2006, you know? So I'll have rappers on, I'll have pop stars on. As long as you're a cool person, you want to talk about music and we can have a good conversation, then like, let's do it. I think, I think that would be cool because do we still have a connection? But yeah, so for people listening, there's an awkward edit there because my internet dropped. But yeah, what I was saying is, I think I wanted to talk to anyone from any genre because I think it would be cool from the start. I didn't want to be pigeonholed. So, um,
Who are like some of your like who are your dream guests?
dream guest, like anyone, no matter how big. Post Malone.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think. Morgan Wallen would be fun. He seems like a fun guy. Jelly Roll. Thinking of pop stars popping into my head.
Right, right, right.
But there's people in our world too. Like I would love to have Daryl from Glassjaw on. Like that was awesome that you got to do that.
Dude, it was
Anyone from Converge, all the bands they grew up listening to. Which I think I'm at a place where I could actually reach out to them at this point. I didn't.
109%.
Yeah.
100%.
So,
The thing is too is like that's the cool part about wanting to do this is because I'm going to have conversations with a lot of people who I normally don't like wouldn't know or wouldn't care too much about musically or whatnot. But then again, like some of the best ones I've done are like the most eye-opening ones are like the people that I thought I wouldn't care that much about. But the Daryl one is very special, obviously, because like I'm such a fanboy for that fucking band
yeah.
and him in general. But like I get like real nervous about stuff like that too, because like, to me he was one of the top three gets for me.
Yeah. Especially
Chino,
in person,
of course, yeah, yeah. Chino's one, and then Fred Durst is the other. Um, so if I got those two, I probably quit podcasting. But uh, yeah, Daryl was a big one for me, and then of course, like I just felt like I was gonna go down there and just be a fucking complete moron, and like again in my head, I'm a fucking diehard Glassjaw fan. I've got like a lot of like rare Glassjaw dumb shit back here, CDs and vinyl, but like I don't know everything about the band. There's fucking nerds on the internet that know way more than me about the band. So like, when you go there and that podcast for context, if anyone doesn't know this already, like that's in the lobby of a hotel room, lobby of a giant hotel by the airport in Miami. So there's 400 people around us, like like literally around us in the lobby. You can't hear them because like we edited the podcast a little bit, but like there are fucking people are looking at us and we're mobs. So like not only am I nervous about meeting one of like my goats like that I've looked up to musically and vocally forever, but like I now have all these people staring at me and I got to worry about what the fucking comment section is going to say about like
Yeah.
what dumb questions I ask or whatever. But I think I'm like a really horrible podcaster, and then you'll get like 3 comments on YouTube in a week that are like, this is a fucking awesome conversation. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because you also don't know what Daryl's expecting either if you don't know him, and it's
He
like,
wasn't expecting the video, that's for sure.
like, like, is he expecting a more formal interview where he's going to sit there and wait, or is he going to be easy to talk to? So you go through all this in your head and you get nervous.
Well, and then like we had a hotel room. Like I bought like a expensive suite so we could have like an extra room to have like a podcast setup at, but like lo and behold, it's not ready. So by the time he rolls in, we're just gonna fucking wing it down here. But again, like
Damn.
here I am having like Coors Lights with Daryl, and like in my Rolodex of things that I would have in my life, that's not in the Rolodex for but
Yeah.
it was a cool thing, and I enjoy that, and it only makes me think of like how much of an idiot I'd be if I had Chino or like Fred on the show, or like Kendrick would be like. There are other people outside of metal and hardcore world that I would love to do as well. But like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like,
that's where my mind went to first. But in our world, or at least new metal world, Wes Borland, he was another idol for me.
mm,
Chino for sure. But I feel like Abe would be really fun to talk to. He seems like a fun guy. He's always just drinking beers and he's kind of
yeah.
quiet. But I bet he would be good to hang out with if you got him by himself.
I'm fucking Stefan would be fucking tight to get on the podcast, smoke some weed
Oh,
from space out with him.
fuck yeah. I'm like, dude, you're the reason I don't shred.
Shredding's for lames, dude. Just chords and fucking two power chords and bar chords.
Yeah, dude. Riffs, not solos. That's
Yeah.
what I was.
No, but I mean it's cool. I don't know what the goal is for you, or I don't even know what the goal is for me for the podcast. I just enjoy doing it, and it's part of the content. And then I get to have these conversations with bands and artists and like people like yourself, and like you know, you established some kind of normalcy or familiarity with this person because again, you see all the same people on the road. So like
Yeah.
it's good that like for example, like August Burns Red, right? JB was on the podcast. I run into him like at every festival that I go to. So much so that like he sent me they played here not that long ago, like last year they played Daly's Arena, which is attached to the Jaguar Stadium. It's like part of the Jaguar Stadium, but it's not in the stadium. But it's affiliated with the Jaguars. So like everyone that plays there gets like a jersey made, for them, whatever.
Oh, that's
Taylor
cool.
Roll's got one, Morgan Wallen's got one, and so does JB Brewbreaker. Well, he had one until he sent it to me. So now,
Oh,
he
wow.
sent it to me as like a gesture, and I was like, that's fucking cool. But it's all happens from talking to people on the internet and then meeting them out in public and not being a creep.
Yeah. Well, one thing that happened to me that is not in the music world, but WWE. I went to the Royal Rumble in 2022. Was it 2021? It was my birthday, and my friend Zach and Steve were there, and they had like front row seats, and like I think a hotel room. They're like, just come up for your birthday. I guess they had an extra ticket, and they're like, it's your birthday. Drive to San Antonio right now. It's an hour away from Austin. So I was already wearing like my Austin 316 hoodie, just playing guitar. I just go, okay, just gonna wear this, go out there, and then so Zach and Steve are friends with Cody, and they've been friends with him for years. And so Cody's got his tour bus outside, and we all just go on the tour bus to hang out after he wins the Royal Rumble.
Mm.
And first cool thing that happens is he pulls out a bottle of whiskey and he does, if you know, like the Undertaker gargle thing. It
Yeah.
was like you get initial. So I got to do that with Cody after his Royal Rumble win. He pours the shots, we do the gargle, and then he goes back into the back of the bus and he goes in his closet and he pulls out his fucking family jacket, like the red, white, and blue one, just gives it to me. He goes, "Happy birthday." So that's just hanging in my closet. That was the best surprise random birthday thing that ever happened.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that JP and I, like my partner here and whatnot, there are so many times where we've gone somewhere, we've been a part of something or been, doing something, and we just look at each other and we're like, what the fuck are we doing here? Dude? Like, because I did this as a like a teenager. Like I did the internet website thing. So I know that like you can basically get whatever you want just by asking. Like most people don't ask. That's the big hump. So like if you can ask, like I knew that doing the podcast, all I have to do is like if I had Lambgoat behind me, I could get anybody. And no one's gonna say no to the Lambgoat podcast, right? So like that was the idea for that. And so you just take that logic and you move forward, but I'm losing my train of thought now.
Um, you asked me what would be my goal with it, I guess, or you were talking about that.
No, I know, but then that changed to something else. You were just talking about something and it made me think about something, but I got
Oh,
ADD.
you said when you got JB's jersey, and then I
Oh,
was
no, no,
like,
no. Yeah. I'm sorry. When we were looking at each other, JP and I are looking at each other and we're like, what the fuck are we doing here? Because we're just two dudes, that aren't connected to anybody, anything, and like when I talk to a lot of people, it's like a lot of everything is connected for the most part. Everyone knows everybody. Everyone's fucking been in the scene for 30 years or whatnot. But like, JP and I sometimes are like witness to things that are like, what the fuck? Or like when we met Fred Durst at Rockville, we were like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like these are things that are like just so outside of the everyday to day realm, but they're so cool. And, there are opportunities that are granted to us from the podcast and or eventually taking over Lambgoat, but like
yeah, I was gonna say you do belong there, and because you're the fucking owner of Lambgoat, so
Dude,
I
it's
know.
considered to a fucking T by all means.
Dude, I don't think it goes away unless you're like, I don't know. I think it depends on the person because I bet there's a lot of really, really popular like artists who still feel it. Unless you have an ego, then you're like,
Right.
look, yeah, I'm supposed to be here.
I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I don't think anyone watches my podcast, listens to my podcast. I just don't think because like no one in my day to day does, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like no one in my direct circle of friends or whatever pays attention to what the fuck I'm doing in the weird metal and hardcore world. Like they know I do internet stuff and I have like LG Media and I do a podcast, but they none of my friends are really into what I'm into musically, right? So like
Yeah.
they don't fucking pay attention or care. So like I to myself, like I don't get to talk about what I do to like my friends or anything like that, or in depth of that to that magnitude. But like I went and saw Glassjaw and Poison the Well and Better Lovers in Atlanta the other weekend, right? Like a couple weeks ago. We're leaving the venue and it was a great show, obviously. I had a couple of beers at this point and I didn't travel to Atlanta without bringing any weed with me, right? So I didn't bring anything with me. And I'm staying at my sister's house and she doesn't smoke and they're not even in town, but I'm just staying there crashing. And so on the way back, I'm walking to where they stay or where they live from the venue with my buddies. And there's like these people up there, up the way, and they're smoking weed. And like, I'm the kind of guy that's going to be like I'm not a cop, but I'm going to fucking approach you like I'm a cop and be like, hey, youngsters, do you have any weed for me? Um, so long story short, like I eventually approached these people and the guys like, I was like, oh, hey, man, if anyone had like a blunt, I'd sure buy a blunt off them or something like that, you know? And he was like, oh no, man, not over here. Sorry. And then he kept looking at me. He's like, do I know you from somewhere? And I was like, I don't think so. He's like, no, I've seen you recently. And I was like, I do a podcast. And he's like, that's where it was. I saw the Glassjaw podcast and blah, 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 blah. He didn't even sell me weed. He gave me weed after that. So, you know, win-win
That's
situation.
awesome.
One time it's paid out. The one time it's played out for me, paid off.
It's funny too because like you put in all this work and you don't get much except for the comment section. There's a couple nice comments. Like you feel like it's going unwatched for the most part, and especially like we're not getting thousands and thousands of views and like whatever, but there are people seeing it, and then that just goes to show, you know, like I'll get like I got a lot of comments on the John Campaignin from Black Dahlia. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people like great interview, and I'm like, man, I thought I sucked on that one, but
Yeah. I
like,
think the ones you feel you suck the most on are probably your best podcasts.
yeah,
That's how it comes out with me. I think I suck on every fucking one of them, dude. I'm just straight eating dick on every podcast. And like the internal like red flare ups of like anxiety are just constantly for that like hour because like I've also had to learn to just allow a little bit of dead air. Like it used to always be like the second dead air happened, I'd be like, oh, fucking must say something. And then I would like struggle to find what to say. But I've also learned that if I just shut the fuck up, the other person will have that anxiety problem and then they'll talk.
yeah. I had the same problem for the first at least 20 episodes where I was afraid of dead air. And as soon as they would pause, even though they probably weren't done talking, I would go, oh, so, you know, like I had to pick it up and be host guy. And
A millisecond feels like 5 minutes or something like that. It is insane. Especially like that's why I don't go back and listen to any of these podcasts either because I don't want to hear like the dead airs or like me flubbing a word or whatever because that'll just fucking eat my brain alive and then I'll be in my head about it.
or you get a fact wrong or say like a date wrong.
Oh, I'll say
Like,
names, band names wrong, albums names wrong. I'll just won't even fucking be on the same. I won't even be on the same planet sometimes, and it's just like, fucking cool, dude. Just keep moving. No one's watching this anyway, so who cares?
I think to answer your question earlier, reasons for starting it was like one, I thought it was going to be like a supplemental side thing to my YouTube channel. Like I'll do guitar stuff and I'll do a podcast. Then you realize how much goes into this, and it became the main thing, and that got pushed to the side. But in the beginning, before it was like hopes of like, oh, I hope I can make a little money and hire someone to help or whatever. It was like I love podcasts so much, and I spend most of my time watching them, and I wanted to like give back to that in my own way for like all the people who make this shit, and it's like comforting for just having the background or when I'm working or when I go to sleep at night. Like I love it. I love just hearing the two people be real for a couple hours. So I was like, this is my way of putting that out into the world too. So hopefully I can do the same for someone else who just they're at work and their day sucks and they have it in their ear, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like when you meet someone that does listen to it, like I'm so blown aback by it, especially if they are in the music world or if they're in a band and they bring it up. I'm like, you don't fucking stop. You don't patronize me. You don't have to lie. Like, listen, man, no one's listening to it. I get it, but when they do, I'm like, oh, it's wild. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then again, I've had the opportunity to have conversations mostly on Zoom, but a lot of those, some of those conversations in person with like Jacob from Converge and like you know people I shouldn't be talking to at all. Like most of these people I shouldn't be talking to at all.
Well, again, you should, because you are in a position to do that. So,
That's the only reason why I should really honestly not be talking to any of these fucking people like that.
but like he wouldn't have let you acquire the company if he didn't believe you were a good person for it. So
That or yeah, maybe that I'd like to tell myself that, but also he might have been looking for a sucker. You never know. You never know.
a sucker. Right.
Yeah.
You could deal with this fucking comment section.
Yeah, I mean he was also good on just doing what he was doing for the next 20 years too. But, and the weird thing about Alex is he's back. Like he's with us now. He's on staff now. So like he took 2 years off and then was like I'm bored. And I was like, we got a gig for you, friend. So he's kind of like our morning editor guy cuz I'm more of the like I really don't wake up till about 9, 10 o'clock because I'm up till like 4 o'clock in the morning every day or every night. So he's not. He's a morning guy. So he's like morning editor guy, and some of the team is also morning. They get up at 5 o'clock in the morning for their day jobs and shit. So they start posting some news way earlier on, and Alex will kind of like maintain that and push that live, and then I'll get up 9, 10 o'clock, and that's when like the real news day starts kind of rolling in as far as like press releases go and things on the internet start getting active around that time frame, and then I'll post most of the stuff throughout the day. But it's
Yeah.
good to have him around just because you know he is the voice of Lambgoat, whatever that meant, right? So his style of writing was Lambgoat, and I've tried to like adopt that as much as possible, but I'm not a writer. Like I'm not a like I don't have a degree in writing. I'm not great at English, and I wasn't like a fucking studious person when we were in school. But uh, you know, I tell everybody I was like I'd never wanted to be a journalist, and like that's mainly my day to day job is like I'm a full time journalist, not only on Lambgoat but for some of our other outlets that cover other uh things, and so yeah, so lame.
Yeah, I felt like same thing with this when I started feeling like I have to be interviewer guy. I was like, I never wanted to be interviewer guy. I just wanted to have good conversations with people. So when I felt myself like trying to prepare too much or to write down too many questions or something, I started to dislike it. And those would be the ones I would dread the most because like I over prepared and like this isn't what I started this for.
Yeah,
Then I just like relax a little bit. It's like it's okay to note some things and have something to reference, but like to like write all these questions out and try to be Chris Williamson or try to be one of those other guys, it's like that's not who I am. This is so
you know,
just
and
kind of
plus
relax.
those guys have teams that are fucking researching that shit too. So
Oh
like,
yeah,
by all means, if someone wants to come research my shit, we'll take this podcast to the next level. But I'm not capable of doing that. That's all I'm saying.
yeah,
But I mean, it is what it is. It's for the love, obviously, because again, I don't know, dude. It is what it is. It's like Lambgoat is. I look at Lambgoat as like because it's been around for so long, it's kind of like a database of like the scene. So like there are things like like yesterday we posted something of like Jesse's joining Seven Angels Seven Plagues on that day in like 2002 or something like that, right? So like we're probably the only website that even has that on their website now currently from that time, right?
how many other websites like Lambgoat were there? Like one?
I think the PRP and Blabbermouth maybe at the time, right? I
Oh, I
don't know.
didn't know Blabbermouth was that old. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're pretty old. They're one of the first ones too. I think Alex may have like started covering more extreme metal because Blabbermouth wasn't or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, they're one, but they're like they're so fucking Blabbermouth is so fucking huge too. But that's one person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think these outlets are like big time, and some of them are. Some of them are corporately owned, right? But most of them are not.
Uh, So I wanted to ask you this. What advice would you have for all these bands that probably hit you up every week when they're trying to approach you to get coverage on there? How to approach you and when to approach you? When's too early? Like what do you look for and be like, okay, this is an unknown band, but we want to post them for the first time.
Um, we want to get better about doing this in general. We get submissions up the butthole every day, whether it's social media platforms or emails, right? Because we have a contact form on the website. So there's ways to submit your stuff. Obviously, we want to get better into like having someone check all that stuff out. Um, we just don't have the ability to do so right now. So it's very few and far between that one of those things will slip through the cracks, although they do. So by all means, don't stop, but don't also be offended if you never hear anything back. You know what I mean? Because I got thousands of emails coming through every day, and it's it is what it is. Not just from bands, but like PR people or spam or whatever. There's like thousands going on in that inbox. But um, yeah, I mean, my advice would be do more than send a fucking YouTube link or something like that. That I could go on about like just the wackest ways like that I've seen people try to submit themselves or submit their bands, and like the low effort attempts of just like, hey, new song, and then post a link. It's like, well, I'm not taking any time out of my day to even read this message, let alone check your song out. So like,
Yeah.
present it. You want to be like eye catching and presentable because like again, like we're not even like the biggest outlet out there, and we get a lot of submissions a day. So like if you're submitting it to a bigger outlet, like you have to stand out some which way. And that's really hard to do so when you're just receiving emails. So like we have a PO box. I've got something hanging out my PO box right now that was delivered yesterday. So I don't know what that is, but we get like CD submissions all the time that way. Those stand out more than anything because now I have to go across town because where I used to live is where the PO box is, and I moved in with my girlfriend. But I got to go all the way fucking across town, so it's like a 40-minute drive to go get the fucking PO box now. So that'll stand out more so, but also don't flood my PO box because it's a small one.
Yeah, I bet you get way more emails than physical media, so that's actually a
Yeah.
cool way to stand out.
Alex used to get flooded with CDs. That's why he's selling most of those CDs he's gotten throughout the year, like on our web store, our website. It's called Webby's Basement because all that shit was in his basement. He sold hundreds of CDs already, and he's got fucking hundreds more. But these are all things that are over like the 2 decades that were just sent his way. So
Yeah.
he had really cool stuff. A lot of it's been picked over and picked through, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's like common sense people, like include a photo, a short bio, not long,
An
just like
EPK of sorts or something. Yeah. I mean, like, it doesn't matter how many followers or plays your shit has. If it's good, it's good. You know what I mean? That's that. And granted, like, we probably want someone that's less known than someone that's more known. But at one point, and I'm going to bring this back, but at one point, we used to do like a monthly or a weekly New Music Monday live stream in the afternoon or in the evening. And I would just be like listening to band, like people who would submit their bands.
oh, that's cool.
It started out like just like, hey, submit your band, and then of course that got fucking inundated. So I was like, okay, submit your band, and the first people that pay $10, I can guarantee that I'll play your song because like then you buy a spot right on the list, and we'll talk about your song or whatever. But like that felt kind of weird because like it's like a payola vibe, but like also like
Yeah.
if I just open the floodgates, well, I'm only going to be able to play 13 songs in an hour anyway.
Yeah.
So fucking who.
You could make it a simple list of like include this in your email, and all the people who don't read anything, they don't get played. But as people actually like answer like a simple EPK, like you were saying, or something like just answer all these questions so I know that you read this. I bet you
Right.
still only get like 13
Right, yeah,
that
so
actually do it.
and again, like $10 isn't a fucking load to get your shit played on the live stream. I mean, now it'd be different because we're not active, but we posted about it on Lambgoat and stuff like that too. And we get like hundreds of people looking in for some of these, and yeah, it was fun. But again, it's like another thing that you do monthly, or sorry, another thing that you schedule every week, and it's like a live thing. So it's like, fuck, can't
Yeah,
go to
that might
shows.
be a good monthly thing.
Yeah. can't go to shows on Monday night, can't do this on fucking Saturday nights because I'm doing this or fucking, so I try to keep my schedule open because I like to hang out and I hang out all day long in this fucking room. I never leave the fucking house. And then at nighttime, I go out and I fucking hang out with my art friends and we smoke weed and we hang out until fucking 3 o'clock in the morning.
I like the live stream. I did. Maybe you could do super chats because the people do that, right?
Well, we want to do a lot. I mean, like content is fucking something that we really want to fucking push in the next couple of years too. Like we want to onboard more podcasts to our network too. So like that's another thing too that we're looking at, like finding sponsors and finding advertisements for podcasts as well. So like content is something that we're really keen on. We've always been keen on. I mean, like, dude, we have so much content, video content that's not out. Like I've got the fucking the Jacob thing, that the interview that I did, that I did that a year and a half ago. Fucking, you know what I mean? But who's gonna edit it? Who's gonna fucking do it all? I mean, it just stacks up. So like, we have so much footage from festivals and shows and just our travels in the last couple of years. Like, we do need to sit down and fucking knock that out. And like, I got this like little documentary we've been working on for like 2 years about like Dallas Taylor's accident when he was in Maylene. And so like we're at the tail end of that, and it's I'm holding it up, but it's like another thing that I gotta fucking handle. And so it's like I can't wait till we get some of this stuff off my plate and I can just put more stuff on it, but I can feel a little, less pressure.
It's tough with a small team because it's like you'd love to hire people to do all this, but then you need to make more money. And it's like, yeah, and like in our world, especially podcasting, like the ad revenue is nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude,
So, like,
we're on a network and get nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like for me, when I got monetized on YouTube, I was just stoked for the milestone. I knew it was going to be pennies, but I was like, okay, that means I'm like getting somewhere. Cause like, it's like 5% of YouTube channels ever make it to that point. So it's like, all right, I'm doing something right. It's just a milestone, but it's like, it's all from sponsors is what you got to get.
Yeah. But even the logic of just the plays, like the logic that we had way early on, even before we bought Lambgoat, I was like talking to JP and I was like, it doesn't even matter, dude. Because if we had 1,000 fucking videos out and we got one play on those a day, that's 1,000 plays, right? So like we're putting out content every day, same on, podcasts or even Lambgoat, right? So like we're just putting out nets every day or every fucking week. We'll put out a net to see what we can catch, and like it's just surprising what you catch. So like even though you're monetized now at like 38 videos or whatever, when it gets to 300 videos, you could be getting multiple plays a day on multiple videos. Therefore,
it's easy to forget about the back catalog.
Yeah,
is like people do go back and watch that, and I see that now. I'm like, well, especially the guy I had on Ondos. He's like a hip hop prog guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
He sounds like Animal as Leaders with rap.
Okay,
over it.
Cool,
really sick. But he's starting to pop off, and then for 2 months, his episode was kind of it was like dead, and then it just started going off, and I'm like, oh, like okay, you forget because you think people watch it or they don't, and it's just out, but it stays out there. People find it, but stop yelling at it.
I get comments on old videos all the time, and it's funny because like it might be like 3. I get comments all the time on the Daryl podcast, obviously, just because there's not a lot of video podcast or video interviews really with him, so that was also really rare and cool. But the Cannibal Corpse Alec Webster podcast always gets fucking, I don't know why, but there's a certain ones that just constantly get comments, and a lot of the ones that I didn't think would do well did really well. Like I did like some of these other smaller death metal bands that I'm not super familiar with that are like 20 years old, 30 years old, and fucking fucking 1,000 plays, fucking tons of comments. It still rolls in today, so like it's just weird. But again, it all adds up over time. So like I think I did the math a couple months ago, and if I like add up all the video plays from YouTube, not including like social media, if I just take YouTube and Spotify, Apple streaming and stuff like that, it's a little over like 600K for my entirety of doing the podcast. So
wow,
it's, you know what I mean? Like my voice has been heard X amount of times by some fucking idiot somewhere. You know what I mean? I'm just like, it really trips you out. But then when you zoom in and you get like fucking 50 fucking video plays for your latest episode, you're like, no one's fucking paying attention. But you back it out, you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, it's you got to keep your head down and just grind. How do you do on Spotify? Because I get way less on there
Compared to like Apple.
compared to YouTube. Apple, I get the least, but Spotify is catching up. It's weird. Some episodes do better on Spotify, but for the most part, everyone's watching on YouTube.
Um, YouTube's probably our weakest, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah. You're doing a lot more promotional stuff though for your video content. Like I don't do anything. It's just it gets posted and then the fucking post gets posted to social media. There's not even a link really to you know what I'm saying? Like I'm telling you all of our flaws. There's not even a link to fucking listen to the podcast. It's just like you go to the website and then find the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Do it. Just go do your homework. But you're doing a lot better on certain things like that. So like I have an audience where it's just like, oh, they know every week or whenever they want, they can listen to the fucking episode on Spotify or Apple. And Apple, it was Apple for a while, but Spotify made a big push in the last couple of years, and then it's a little bit more Spotify than Apple these days. But yeah, we're bigger on audio only than
Interesting. Yeah, maybe it's all the social media clips I do and people.
Oh, 100%, dude.
Video
100%.
podcasts.
We
I also,
I could be so much bigger if I fucking spent any more time doing that.
yeah. Well, this is the only thing I have to do. You have a whole conglomerate of things going on. Like,
Yeah, and also like it, do I want to be like? Are you familiar with No Jumper?
no jumper? I don't think so.
It's like another outlet, but it's like more of a rap, pop culture type brand. But anyway, they got the guy who runs the No Jumper podcast is Adam 22, and like he's also like a personality outside of the podcast and the brand. But like in my head, I'm like, do I want to be fucking Lambgoat's Jose Manganin? You know what I mean? Like, is that what I'm gonna do? Or, and I battle that every day. I have yet to do it. Obviously, I'm clearly just who I am when the podcast is who I am. But I mean, like, I do think it'd be good for me to do like more social content, like stories of Lambgoat or like clips for podcasts or interviews or reviews and stuff like that. But again, it's just it'll be me with the fucking green screen shooting content, and then I have to edit the content and stuff like that. So like, and the cool thing is like people can help out, and we're so ground floor. It is insane. Like we have so much going on ground floor of like a media company that is nuts, because like the ad network has its own different ball game that supplies ads and ad revenue to the other outlets that we have on our or on our website network. And so like, if we get an ad salesperson in there and someone who can onboard more clients and websites, like, dude, that's like a Ted Turner type fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like you could be really making money if you do that. But again, it's only Dylan and I rubbing two sticks together. He lives in fucking San Francisco. I live in Jacksonville, and we basically every day I'm just talking to Dylan like this, all day, every day. So we're in the office, so to speak, in our Discord, just chatting with each other every day, all day. But, it's a crazy thing, and every day we just talk about how much help we need or whatnot. But we've done so much too. Like we've done a lot. We do things very fast. So like when we have an idea, when we have a thought about doing something, we execute it very quickly. And I think some people that kind of join our team aren't really used to that, so they don't really last long. But the people that do stick around, like they've been very helpful, and like it's just a trial and error on all the different outlets, trial and error. So we'll eventually get there, and Lambgoat's getting bigger. It's the traffic now is bigger than it's been in the last couple of years. So we're pretty excited about that. We're ellipsing some of the other outlets that have been bigger than us in the last couple of years. But yeah, and I'm very competitive when it comes to that because I fucking hate the other outlets.
I realized, what was that one? One of them hates our band, and I don't know why. I think it's Metal Sucks.
Well,
like,
figure.
Yeah. When we've announced our reunion, like I sent them an email, like one I probably sent you with like photo, this, that, links. And then they took a photo of me and Rob from Europe. That was him and I on a ferry with our hair in our face, and it was all shitty. Yeah. And like that's the one they used, and then it was just like kind of like whatever. Fast was back. Like I was like, man, they don't. Then they just ignored us after that.
But that's their thing. But okay, so they're owned by the same they're owned by a conglomerate that is like basically Sony at this point, Complex Sony or whatever. They used to be independent, and they used to have uh they used to it was run by a certain individual, and another individual ran Metal Injection. Those two linked up, and they created the Blast Beat Network. So the problem with both of those outlets, they have a voice. They have like a weird politically correct voice or whatever. So like there's like an agenda push along with like your fucking
Mm.
your music that you are finding out about. So like when you see certain articles and whatnot, like they'll have some words in there that are a little fucking like okay, you know, or if it's about certain people, like they'll shit all over Ronnie Radke and Chris Attila, or if Donald Trump's mentioned, they'll shit all over that. Which I mean, granted, your opinion is your opinion personally, but like as an
They're
outlet,
injecting it into music
right? As an outlet that deals
news.
with music, like that's not. I'm not fucking worried about that. And so we don't have a voice really. We try to approach everything with like, this is what's going on. These are the fucking. This is what air you did. You deal with it. You know. Um,
Here's just what happens without an opinion.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
try not to be on any side of anything like that or blah, blah, blah. So it is what it is. And I think that those outlets are seeing that that is fucking not working these days. Um, Dude, they get flamed on Twitter and social media sometimes on like what they choose to tweet about and tweet and stuff. So it's like, dude,
It's amazing how long it's taken, like giant corporations too, to realize like nobody wants that shit and the
right.
backlash. And they just keep continuing to dig their own grave. And it's just like, keep the politics out. People just want their entertainment. They get enough of that shit, which is, I was like, for the most part, I don't ever want to talk about it on here. People come here to like just hang out, listen to people talk about music or about their whatever's going on. And like, I just want to keep it, politics free because they get enough of that everywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking yeah. I mean, and the thing is too, like, I'm not stupid. Fucking a lot of this music world is it comes from being, you know, fucking boisterous and out loud and, you know, being a squeaky wheel, so to speak, and getting things done and whatnot. But again, to a certain extent, like we're the news outlet. I don't need to fucking interject my personal opinion about anything, even if a song is good or not. Like you don't I don't need you to know that I know what I feel about it or anything like that. I'm giving you the opportunity to decide what you decide, you know?
Yeah, unless it's a specific. This is a review by Lurk. It's just new, like. Also, where did you get the nickname Lurk? I forgot to ask you that.
Okay, so we would like just really go ham on MySpace when we were in the band and like try to find people to like connect with and book shows with and whatnot. And so you would end up just going through like people's top eights and you'd be like 18 fucking profiles in and not know, you know, you'd be lost in like some scenes fucking, you know, I'm in Florida, I'm looking at North Carolina's fucking metal scene and I'm like 18 pages deep into fucking who's hanging out in the fucking scene. So like we just had a little crew of people that would do that to find like shows and fucking shit and we would just call ourselves like the Lurk Squad or something like that. And we all had like a little name that had like Lurk in it and like so mine at first was like Mick Lurkerson, like Mickey McDonald's or something like that, but it was Mick Lurkerson was my original name and then it changed through years and I eventually went by like Lurk City, which is what I am on Lambgoat, but it's also like my music producing moniker. So like if you look up Lurk City, you'll find fucking like, you know, weird electronic music mixes and songs and shit like that. So if someone is confused, it's me, I promise. It's just when I was, you know, gallivanting away from hardcore and metal. But yeah, so from Lurk City it just goes to Lurk because my friend like my friend group, my in-person friend group, that's what they call me as Lurk. So it's quite weird because there are people that do call me Lurk and people have no idea what that is. So
Yeah, that's cool though. Yeah, I was wondering that. I've never had a cool nickname.
I don't know if it's cool. It's just what fucking people call me. You know what I'm saying? It's like instead of
It,
having like
it works though.
oh,
Maybe it's because I've known you long enough to like go, oh, it's just Lurk. But
yeah,
yeah,
it became like a name and not like just a fucking weird word. But yeah, you know, I do enjoy it and yeah, I mean, if we're out and about here with my friend, that's what they're yelling. They're not yelling Dave. They've not. I mean, if they call me David or Dave, like,
You're like, what's wrong?
who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? Yeah, like what is? Yeah, but I mean that's just what it was because like I was Lurk City and like when I was DJing pretty heavily and I like, you know, I did some things in the DJ world. Not like I'm not like a signed Diplo guy or nothing like that, but I opened up for a bunch of like Crystal Method and some other like big names I
Oh
thought,
shit.
yeah, the big names I thought were cool back in high school, you know. So like I opened up for them 20 years later, no big deal. But
That's
yeah,
awesome, dude.
I've done a couple of things like that. So like in my little world, I'm not a bad DJ, you know. So like I'm not a horrible DJ. So people do know me a little bit locally here for that. But and that's what they call me. They call me Lurk. So it's like
That's cool.
people are yelling, and
I like it.
yeah, it's dumb. It's dumb as shit. It's better than it used to be. It used to be like Hearn Dave.
Hearn.
Yeah, because my website was the HRN, so people would call me
Oh.
Hearn Dave all the time.
Yeah, that one doesn't work.
No, yeah, not a fear.
I was
But
like,
it's weird, like
yeah.
when you start like when I started dating my girlfriend, I had already owned Lambgoat, so like, and but oddly enough, she is into the metal world, so she kind of knew kind of what it was. But it's weird. I had to explain the whole Lurk thing to her because we started going out and people started coming up to me and hey Lurk or fucking what up Lurk, and she's like, what the fuck is that? I go, it's okay. So I had to explain to her that whole fucking childish situation too. Because I'm a 40-year-old man. You know what I mean? So like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh, you're 42? I turned 40 this year.
I'll turn 42 this year. So yeah, I'm a little. I was always the
Well,
younger person in my
I
group
would have
too.
guessed you were younger than me.
Yeah, I don't know how I became the oldest person. Like I'm older than a lot of people that work at Lambgoat, and I thought I was the youngest. So like, it's wild. I'm always the youngest person of the group, but in the last couple of years, I've just not been. So
Well, I need you to submit a song for the Riff Tacos official Spotify playlist. I started. I have every guest submit a song. Could be anything you want, any genre, something that's inspirational to you or meant something to you.
let me look up. I'm gonna look up that thing that. Did you say new song or any song?
Any song.
I mean, I can give you like my favorite song.
Sure. Yeah. Perfect.
So yeah, my favorite song of all time is Aptos Mill by Glassjaw.
Oh, good song.
Yeah, that's a
I don't
banger.
think there's one Glassjaw song on there yet either.
Blasphemy.
But yeah, some people I'll ask, and it's like you could easily do your favorite song, which I don't think I have a favorite song. That's pretty hard. But people will be like, I'm gonna go weird on purpose because like I don't want I want it to be completely different. So some of the shit's been shit I've never heard of, or like you got Nine Inch Nails, you got Necrophagist, Cult of Luna, Tom Waits.
Mm.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. So Lurk is Glass Shot. That's great. I haven't heard Ape Dust Mill in a long time.
Weekly. I can't escape it.
Minerva is a big one for me, and that's probably in my top 3 songs if I had to pick one. I picked like 20 new metal songs to start that I loved when I was a kid to start the playlist.
Oh, nice. I mean, I could have done like Lateralis by Tool is also fucking a top tier song for me. That's a good one for me. Um, there's a lot, dude. There's a lot. Admittedly, recently, All Around Me by Flyleaf.
I don't know that one.
Oh my God. How do you not know Flyleaf, dude?
They're one of those bands I know of, but I never listened to.
I,
I'm gonna write it down to, or
I can't stress this enough, but that is a fucking banger, dude. That is a
Flyleaf.
fucking
What is
banger.
it?
All Around Me.
All Around Me.
Now, Flyleaf is like a Christian new metal band from like back in the early 2000s.
That might have been why I just go nope.
Yeah. But
I'll
I mean, I've been playing it at the new metal nights, right? And it just goes so fucking good. And like when a song goes good and the crowd's going fucking crazy, like obviously I'm more into it. And then like I just end up listening to that song a little bit more often than I ever have in my life. So like right now, it's just like repeating in my head the last couple of months, and it's fucking annoying.
I hear you. Well, I'm gonna listen to it when we get off here. Is there anything else you'd like to tell people listening for like future plans for Lambgoat? What do you got coming up?
Yeah, man. We're just gonna take it to the next level every month, every year, every decade. We can try to keep moving the needle. We got a lot of merch stuff coming up. I'm gonna do some more. We're doing some more Lambgoat Records things in the next couple months too. Um, because we did put out the Pariah record or the Pariah EP last year, and we did some things with 18 Visions as well, doing a variant of their EP. I'd like to keep that going because having a record label is kind of a cool, you know,
Yeah.
other than the cap, that's a cool fucking thing. There's a lot of content stuff that we kind of want to keep doing, and then again, just kind of like helping others grow their outlets and platforms a little bit. That's something that LG Media does. We're just kind of like streamlining it to where, like, if you have an audience, we can inject another form of monetization and revenue with a website, whether it be like a news outlet or a subscription based, premium content type thing or whatever. So like, we just have a lot of that stuff going on. We're just trying to help creatives be more creative and make as much money as they can in a world where it is kind of hard to fucking make money on the internet nowadays and in general. So
Yeah, it's gotten very oversaturated. It still is possible though. Is most people will give up before they get to that point. Like
yeah,
old version of me definitely would have quit like after episode 5. I'm like, this is fucking hard.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I think about, like I said, I think about it all the time. I think about shaving my beard every day. I think about a lot of things. I think about starting fresh every day, but I never do.
Well, dude, thanks so much for hanging out today. It was great to get to know you better, and congrats again on 3 years as CEO at Lambgoat. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Congrats on the reunion and coming back, and hopefully you get some more shows here in the next couple of months.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We're pretty dead right now.
Yeah.
Everyone with summer and shit, but yeah, and I'm sure anyone listening probably knows who Lambgoat is. I'm not introducing many new people to who you are, but on the off chance someone isn't, you can check out Lambgoat at lambgoat.com, the Van Flip podcast on YouTube and Spotify and all that stuff. Follow Lambgoat on Instagram, and you're Lurk City on Instagram too, aren't you?
Lurk City on all social media. Yeah.
Awesome.
Lurk's taken, although I'm working on that. So don't.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I got the From a Second Story window handle from the guy who had it. He just nicely gave it to me, and I was like, shit, thank you so much. That means a lot.
Yeah, for sure. But the people who have the Lurk one are like MIA. So I have to learn like how to hack Instagram and Twitter or something like that and just fucking get those back. Or get back.
There's a few I've needed over the years where the people don't answer, and it's like, shouldn't they have like an inactive thing where it just goes back into the system?
You should be able to, but who knows?
Right. All right, dude. Well, thanks again. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Reminder, if you're enjoying the podcast and want to support me, the best way to do that is please hit the subscribe button, like the episode on YouTube. If you're on Spotify or Apple, you can please hit me with a follow and leave a rating. That would mean a lot. So thank you all, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take it easy. If you're at Furnace Fest, come say what's up.